Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. One Piece Bounty System. Chapter 81, The Most Ridiculous Invitation in History. What's wrong? You bastards, what are you looking at? Dibbaloo touched his smooth cheeks and thought that he was already very abstract before he finished thinking. Now he must be kicked by this guy so hard that even his subordinates don't recognize him. By myself. Boss. The black-clothed fishman looked at the handsome Dibbaloo, slurred, and said in disbelief, Boss, you are so handsome. You have become super handsome. The two fishmen next to him, at this time, he also reacted, and together with the black fishman, he brought a mirror to Dibbaloo. Dibbaloo reached out and took the mirror handed over by his subordinates, thinking to himself, if you guys dare to lie to me, I will make you look good. But when he saw himself in the mirror, Dibbaloo's eyes straightened. Is this handsome guy really me? Has he really become so handsome? Dibbaloo repeated, biting his lower lip, his eyes filled with joy more than shock. I've become handsome, I've really become handsome. Ha ha ha, I've become a handsome man. Benefactors, you are my Dibbaloo's benefactors. The handsome Dibbaloo blinked his big watery eyes and stood gratefully on the back of the black bull, looking up at Sanji and Luffy, and said sincerely, yes. With this appearance, I will never feel inferior again. Yes, I have become a handsome guy. Whatever conditions you want, I will agree to them all. At this time, a beautiful woman walked out of Luffy's cabin. She was watching the farce of Tian Lei, and her face immediately became incredulous. Nami. Didn't I help him get rid of the evil dragon? Unexpectedly, I still got on Luffy's ship. Although I didn't earn Nami at that time, it was because I loved Naka and Luffy's group very much in my previous life, and I couldn't bear to break them up. But he also knew in his heart that with his intervention, Nami might meet Luffy again, but he didn't expect to get on Luffy's ship. What a surprise! Is the aura of the protagonists irreversible? When Tian Lei was still stroking Sanji's kicking skills and struggling with Nami's appearance, the system text suddenly appeared in his mind. Ding! The pirated version meets the genuine version. The battle between the pirated version and the genuine version begins in the side mission, and the mission reward is a set of Zoro's genuine sword. The system text did not appear for a long time, which shocked Tian Lei. After reading it, Tian Lei cursed secretly. System, why are you here to join in the fun? Zoro's genuine one-sword style, it seems that he is about to show his face. Yo! Nami, I didn't expect to see you here. Do you want me to arrest you? Or do you want me not to arrest you? This makes me so embarrassed. Tian Lei immediately spoke up, with a serious look on his face. He looked like he was joking, so Tian Lei naturally wouldn't catch Nami. Oh my god! No way! It's really him. Hearing this familiar voice, he immediately knew he had met an old acquaintance. Nami's face became excited, her eyes immediately turned red, and she shed tears soon. Zoro, hey? I didn't notice this person's arrival. How strong? His hands couldn't help but grasp the hilt of the sword. Sanji, the nymphomaniac, immediately became furious. Who are you? How dare you capture my Nami? Do you want to die? Usopp and Chopper hugged each other as soon as they saw Tian Lei, and said in horror. Hi, the Navy has appeared, and then said, even if you are a Navy, I will not let you lead. Let's go with Nami. He still looked frightened, but his words were full of firm determination. Luffy was furious. Damn it, they're here to capture my companions again, this time it's Nami? I decided not to. You will be punished by looking at my rubber machine gun. Unfortunately, before he could punch his fist, he was already punched in the head by an even more furious Nami. Luffy immediately had a big bump on his head and looked at Nami with a look of grievance and confusion. He didn't understand, wasn't he helping her? Why are you still beating yourself? Nami said to Tian Lei, I'm glad to see you again. Hey? Lieutenant General? Are you already a Lieutenant General? Nami looked in disbelief. It's only been a few years since we last met, this is rising too fast. Everyone exclaimed, Lieutenant General. At this time, everyone saw Tian Lei's military rank. Before, they saw that Tian Lei was very young, so they didn't pay much attention to it. Tian Lei smiled and said, your sister Nyaki Jayadu is already a colonel. It would be too shameful for me to still be a brigadier general. Everyone exclaimed again, sister. Sanji flew over immediately, and next to Nami, he said, Nami-san. You have a sister, she must be as beautiful as you. Introduce her to me. Nami punched Sanji directly, and Sanji was knocked to the ground with a KO. Tian Li smiled brilliantly. Nami, how about you come to my naval base for a visit? You can just meet your sister. In this way, Tian Li sent out the most ridiculous invitation ever. It is absolutely unprecedented for the Navy to invite pirates as guests. The most speechless thing was that the pirate agreed without thinking. Nami can see her as soon as she hears it. She has not seen her sister for several years, so why should she care about anything else? I agreed immediately. Usopp and Chopper immediately felt bad. Cold sweat broke out on their faces. They said with sad faces, "We are going to the naval base? We are going to be caught." Tian Li said to Luffy again, "I have a lot of meat there. How about treating you to some? Oh. There is also good wine and no one is drinking it." Luffy, who looked confused just now, immediately had his eyes gleaming, and said together with Rorozoro, who was holding the sword before, "Then go." Frankie, Brook and Sanji looked at the two of them and couldn't help but said speechlessly, "This attitude has changed too quickly." Tian Li said again, "Alas! Nami's sister Nakajayo is so beautiful that people can't resist." Sanji's eyes turned into two hearts again, and he shouted excitedly, "Nacho! Miss Nacho! I'm coming!" Frankie and Brook suddenly felt bad. Brook said, "Why do I feel like I'm about to be caught?" Luo Bin chuckled on the side. She knew that Tian Li had no malice towards them, let alone herself, otherwise he would not have reminded her the last time he beat Crocodile. Soon Tian Li led Luffy and a group of 9 people to the gate of the naval base. The Navy soldiers immediately sounded the alarm, "The Straw Hats are attacking." Tian Li's face immediately darkened, and he slapped the person who shouted, "Didn't you see that I brought them here? What a bullshit!" After a while, 3 people ran out, and they all knew each other, Flying Squirrel, Dalmatia, and one of them was another lieutenant general stationed here. Chapter 82 Domineering Thunder. "You lured the Straw Hats here, great! Let's take them down together." The lieutenant general looked excited. He didn't expect to get such a big credit for nothing. These are 2 of the 11 superstars. Ah, if they were captured and given to the Celestial Dragons, they would not be well off. Based on his relationship with the Tianlong people, this credit must definitely belong to him. What about the 2 lieutenant generals of the headquarters next to him, and what about the youngest genius lieutenant general, hasn't he become my thug? Tian Li said calmly, "This is the guest I invited. By the way, who are you?" For this kind of loser who relies on and flatters the Tianlong people, Tian Li really has no intention to get to know him, so he came. After here, he only knew that there was another lieutenant general. As for who it was, he never cared. Flying Squirrel, Dalmatia and this unknown lieutenant general looked shocked after hearing Tian Lei's words. The Navimen on the side were also stunned. They found that their brains seemed to be a bit insufficient today. Who can tell me what the situation is like when the Navy invites pirates as guests? The unknown lieutenant general immediately shouted, "I am your superior, the person in charge of this station, Genda. And don't forget, we are a righteous Navy, and catching pirates is our bounden duty. The most important thing is, I am the one with the highest position here, and you are just my deputy. Now I order you to arrest this Straw Hat gang immediately." The Flying Squirrel next to him immediately pulled Dalmatia aside. He didn't get along with Tian Li much, but he knew that this guy definitely had a bad temper. And a person who dares to cheat on a general must be very courageous. He glanced pitifully at the lieutenant general who was making a fuss. This guy was going to be in trouble. Finally, Flying Squirrel came to a conclusion. Soon Tian Li told him through actions that his conclusion was not wrong at all. Tian Lei smiled faintly at Yuan Tian, and then came to Yuan Tian. In his disbelieving eyes, Tian Lei punched him hard in the face. He directly knocked Genda away, and then came up on top of him with another shave. After attaching domineering energy to his legs, he stepped down hard. He trampled him directly to the ground. You must know that after Tian Li awakened the Overlord Color Haki, the armed Color Haki has also been upgraded to a high level and can be possessed all over the body. The Haki is no longer pure black, but has purple color, which can increase the attack power by twice. It can be said that Tian Li's strength is now infinitely close to the general level. How could such a useless person be able to resist? Boom! Kara! Kara! First there was the sound of Genda being stepped on and hitting the ground, and then there was the sound of cracks on the ground. For a moment, the scene became silent. "Okay, Lieutenant General Genda, let the Straw Hats kill them. I am now the highest officer here. There will be a banquet for my guests today. I will take action now." Tian Li seemed to have done something, insignificant. Regarding the matter, arrangements for the banquet began. Not to mention the ordinary navy, even the two famous lieutenant generals Flying Squirrel and Dalmtia did not expect Tian Li to be so direct and domineering. And being so shameless. What does it mean to be killed by the Straw Hats? It was obviously you who did it. You think we are blind? Dalmtia glanced at the Flying Squirrel, and now he understood why the Flying Squirrel pulled him aside just now. The Sky Thunder is not easy to mess with, not to mention that he has a strong backing. General Akainu. His own strength is probably above that of our lieutenant generals. As for the lieutenant general on the ground, they couldn't stand this kind of thing. He had no strength and only knew that a flatterer. Just pretend they didn't see this. Because of this man, he offended General Akainu and this monster-like naval genius. I'm afraid only a fool would do it. Tian Li looked at the sailors who had not moved yet, and immediately exuded a faint domineering aura. As soon as the aura of Overlord came out, Tian Li's temperament immediately changed. From being lazy to being like an emperor. The pressure is really too much. This is due to the control of Tian Li, which lowers the Overlord's domineering aura to the lowest level. Even so, these ordinary sailors are still a little unable to withstand it. Looking at Tian Li with fear on his face. Flying Squirrel and Dalmtia looked at each other, and at the same time thought of Overlord Color Haki. It seems our mission is accomplished. No need to look any further to find out who is the person who awakened the Overlord's Haki. It seems that Lieutenant General Tian Li's status is about to rise again. It seems that it won't be long before the Navy's number 4 Admiral, the youngest Admiral, will be born. Tian Li looked at Flying Squirrel and Dalmtia and said, we haven't seen each other for a long time. How about having a banquet together, two Lieutenant Generals? Flying Squirrel and Dalmtia are very depressed now. He naturally understands that Tian Li is forcing them to take sides. You must know that there are many factions in the Navy. The two looked at each other again. Flying Squirrel, okay, we will also participate, but it is our first time to hold a banquet with pirates. After all, Akainu's lineage was already strong, but now that there is an extra thunder, the strength is even greater. With Lei's great help, it is estimated that the next Navy Marshal will be Akainu, and it seems good to join their line. If Tian Li knew about it, he would definitely tell them both that you two are thinking too much, and I just want to have a banquet together. Dalmtia, it seems that when we go back, we have to be trained by the Warring States Marshal again. Tian Li smiled, have you been trained enough? The two looked at each other and smiled. Yes, which one of their lieutenant generals is not full of personality? Very few well-behaved people become strong. How can a person who has lost his self become a strong person? Then the three of them smiled and walked in. Tian Li took a few steps and found that Luffy and the others did not follow. He looked over strangely and heard Luffy say, did I hit this person? Why didn't I know? Sanji said to Tian Li, it's not good for you to let us take the blame like this. Tian Li ignored Sanji and instead said to Luffy, I took the blame, but the boss of the bounty. How could Luffy care about this? For him, eating is the biggest thing in life. He asked indifferently, is there anything to eat? Tian Li smiled brightly, yes, big yes. Hey? Where's Nami? Sanji asked with a puzzled look on his face. Of course he was chatting with his sister, right? What? How can a beauty not have me by her side? Nami, Noki, I'm here. The banquet passed quickly, and Flying Squirrel and Dalmtia had already left. At this time, Tian Li and Loro Zoro were already facing off on a small island. After letting Nami and Nyaki gather together, Tian Li naturally wanted to complete the task. But at this banquet, he had an unexpected surprise, that is, Flying Squirrel and Dalmtia unexpectedly sided with him. Chapter 83 Sky Thunder vs Roro Zoro. Nami asked, Sister, you know the strength of Lieutenant General Tian Li. Do you think you can defeat Soran? Nyoki-Jo burst out laughing after hearing this. Tian Li is the Warring States Marshal of the Navy headquarters. He was personally promoted to Lieutenant General, and his current strength is close to that of a general. Your companions are indeed good in strength, but at most they are about the same as me. Why? Who might be Lieutenant General Tian Li's opponent? What sister, you are already so powerful. Nami's face was full of disbelief. He had seen Soran's power. Even Tian Li back then was far from his opponent, but now the elder sister said that Tian Li was approaching the general, and even she had the strength to fight Soran. Nami looked at Nakajo carefully. She really couldn't understand that this weak body had the power to fight Soran. It was impossible. Bartle Romeo appeared from the side and said with a flattering look on his face, don't underestimate Nakajo. She is a rare 6-position genius in our navy. Even the boss has only learned 3 moves. Nakajao can do 6 moves. The plenum has also awakened its haki. Although she is still a colonel now, she is a major general with sufficient strength. As long as she develops her haki again, she will be able to become a lieutenant general with her physical skills. At this time, Sanji also came over, but it was a pity that Bartolomeo would let him disturb him while he was chatting with 2 beauties. A barrier immediately blocked him 10 meters away. Sanji immediately became furious after being blocked. He shouted loudly, "Nothing can stop me from meeting these 2 beauties. Devil's style first grade minced meat, finishing touch shot, fried assorted platter, top grade minced meat, mutton shot, beast meat shoot, cooked, fragrant and grilled, shot, an iron pot spectrum." Sanji used the Devil's Wind Kick series of kicks all at once, but he still couldn't do anything with Bartolomeo's barrier, and Sanji almost went crazy. In Nami's mind, Sanji's strength was not inferior to Zoro's, but there was nothing he could do against this arrogant guy in front of her. That is, of course, Bartolomeo was not weak in his previous life, and now that he has been trained by Tianlei in advance, he is naturally many times stronger. Coupled with his wretched fruit ability, his defense is almost invincible. Hu ho ho, the refreshing sea breeze blew from the sea, making Tianlei's cloak rustle. The Sky Thunder longsword was instantly attached with armed domineering energy, and he appeared beside Zoro in a flash. This speed was not much slower than using Shao. I thought that this overlord-colored domineering power was indeed powerful. After awakening, various abilities improved greatly. Growth. I couldn't help but use the system to scan my data. Host Sokka Tianlei. Strength, 9000, with the strength of an ordinary person, you can attack with 1 strength. Speed, 9000, normal human speed. Defense, 10,000, an ordinary person's defense can withstand an attack of 1 force without being injured. Physical skills, unknown fishman karate, beginner, navy 6 forms, top. Swordsmanship, Fujiwara Yan's improved pseudo Loro Zoro's 1 sword style, top. Marksmanship, none. Devil fruit ability, replacement fruit, darkness fruit. Domineering, beginner. Armed color domineering, advanced. Knowledgeable domineering, elementary. It is indeed much stronger. You must know that the strength of 10,000 is the sign of a general. Ah, now I have reached 9,000, which is not far away. In particular, the defense has been achieved. Even if it is only caught on the side, it is still achieved. Although Tianlei was extremely fast, Soran was not a vegetarian either. His reaction speed was extremely fast. The 3 swords in his hands and mouth accurately blocked Tianlei's long sword. Boom! A powerful shock wave was generated between the 2 of them. The huge wooden box next to them was instantly blown away, and even the woods nearby were blown away. When swords hit each other, the shock wave was so powerful. This was without the 2 of them using their full strength. The strength of Tianlei and Soran was average. Of course, Tianlei only used 3 or 4 levels of strength, while passing Soran required 8 or 9 levels. Tianlei smiled and said, "The strength is pretty good. He already has the strength of a major general." After saying that, the power of Tianlei's hands increased again, and the ground under Soran's feet also cracked under this powerful force, and Soran's feet were already stuck in the ground. Soran was also a bounty hunter before, so there was naturally a lot of fighting. Later, with Luffy as a troublemaker, it goes without saying that not only did the battles continue, but the battles became stronger every time. But this was the first time I met someone as powerful as Tianlei. He couldn't even block the ordinary force of swinging a sword. But he was not a person who gave up easily, and immediately used all his strength to push Tianlei away. Since strength is no opponent, then use sword moves to solve it, and shout lowly, "The secret of the 3-sword style 3000 worlds." I saw the 2 knives in Zoro's hand spinning rapidly like windmills. At the same time, a strong wind was generated in the surroundings, and then they slashed towards Tianlei at a speed that was almost unseen by ordinary people. Tianlei couldn't help but secretly praise this move. It was really good. He first used the wind to disrupt the opponent's sight, and then launched an attack with absolute speed. This kind of trick is really hard to crack. Of course, if the difference is too big, it will be easy. For example, Zoro has Hawkeye and Tianlei who have fought before. 1 sword style dodge and shake. At this time, Tianlei also launched a counterattack. After all, Soran's strength was also extremely powerful. Tianlei and Soran seemed to have transformed into 2 lightning bolts, invisible to the naked eye, and disappeared together in an instant. Dang! The two men appeared again, their swords collided again, and the person was already in the middle of the two people's positions. Once again, the two were equally matched. Of course, this is when Tianli suppresses his strength. The two of them were fighting fiercely, and they were separated at the first touch. Sometimes colliding together and sometimes separating. Every collision will make a violent sound, and also have strong destructive power. When the two people collided hard again, there was a sound of breaking. You must know that the miserable Zoro now only has Wado Ikemonji, one of the 21 tools of the sharp sword given by his master. The other two were shamelessly taken away by Tianlei. At this time, Tianli's mind appeared, and the system text Zoran's two swords were broken, the host won, and the mission was completed. Get the reward, a set of Loro Zoro's genuine one sword style, sword moves, flying dragon flame, port bird, big chincha, horse ghost, sober drink sword, one sword style Iai lion song, one sword style Iai death lion songa, Itoryu Yakuza sword death lion songa, Itoryu Iai Rashomon, Itoryu 36 worry phoenix, Itoryu 360 worry phoenix. After Tianli read it, he couldn't help but think that the genuine version was indeed the genuine version. All the one sword styles are here, even the Iai series and the worrying phoenix series are complete. Chapter 84 Supernova. After the Sky Thunder's goal is achieved, there is no need to continue. Although Zoro's ability is not bad, he will also be a powerful swordsman in the future. Maybe in 2 years' time, under the guidance of Hawkeye, he will be able to fight, but his current strength is still a little bit behind, and he is not on the same level as Tianli. Your sword has been broken. Let's stop here. How about leaving it for later? Tianli smiled slightly. Why is your one sword style almost the same as mine? Zoro finally asked his doubts. Tianli smiled and said, maybe you and my swordsmanship teacher have some connection. In this way, we are also in the same discipline. Tianli was thinking in his heart, will I tell you, am I pirated from you? Now my pirated copy and your genuine copy are now available. Zoro thought for a moment and accepted this idea. After all, this was also possible. Tenli had people take out Kuai-deo Onigiri and Liang Kuai-deo Muramasa. Then he handed these two famous swords to Zoro and said, this is Onigiri, one of the 82 swordsmen, and Muramasa, one of the 52 swordsmanship of the good sword. I destroyed your sword just now, even if it is what I gave you. Compensate. Of course, we are from the same sect, so this can be considered a gift to the same sect. I hope you can make them famous all over the world again. Zoro took it without knowing why. Onigiri and Muramasa were two famous swords. You must know that these swords are not something you can get if you want them. There are only so many worlds in the entire One Piece world, and of course there are new ones, but those are very few. When he came back to his senses, Zoro had already taken over the two famous swords involuntarily. Tianli walked over and patted him on the shoulder. How can a swordsman stand on top of the world without a good sword? In the end, Soran accepted two famous swords under Tianli's persuasion. Sword. After that, it was time for Luffy and his gang to have free time, and Tenli naturally went out to hang out as well. While walking, Tianli heard the sound of fighting. The first thing that caught his eye was Luo sitting on the side. Fighting there are the killing samurai Kira, a combatant of the Kirikid pirates, and Urki, the captain of the ruined monk pirates, as well as Drake, the fallen admiral of the navy. Seeing these four people, Tianli's mood immediately improved. He laughed sinisterly and said, now we have something to play with. I saw Kira and Ulki fighting quickly. Derek came between the two, stopped the fight between the two, and said, we will make trouble again in the new world. Tianli walked out slowly and said with a smile, Major General Drake, what you said is absolutely right. If you want to make trouble, you have to go to the new world to make trouble. I don't know that I am protecting this place now. Really? Don't want to hang out anymore. The atmosphere that was originally somewhat relaxed became tense again with the appearance of Tianli. They all couldn't help but look towards Tianli. When they saw the navy uniform on Tianli's body, they first showed a look of confusion. But when they saw that the navy uniform on Tianli's body actually belonged to a lieutenant general, they all couldn't help but show fear. Expression. Especially when they recognized Tianlei, the most popular naval genius recently. The one who had taken down Crocodile and Moonlight Moria in the Shishibukai. His strength was extremely strong. Tianli said, I'm really lucky. Let's go for a walk. D2. 2. 18000. 22200. Derek, who was born in the navy, can be said to be the one who knows Tian Li's strength best among the four, but he is not sure that he will get any favors from Tian Li's hands. He couldn't help but said, as far as I know, you are a very principled navy. Although you have killed many pirates, released many pirates into the sea, and even collected many pirates. But you have never killed a single one indiscriminately. Pirates, you must be killing those heinous and mass-murdering pirates. In this way, it seems that I am not within the scope of your attack. Tian Li smiled, as expected of those who have been in the navy. In my eyes, you are just adventurers who like to explore, not pirates. So you can go, but this one, you just kill people everywhere because you think you have some strength. The stupid swordsman has to stay. By the way, there is also Luo. After I finish dealing with this stupid swordsman, I will talk to you about the brothers who changed your whole body. I think you will be emotional. Interesting. As soon as Truffle Law heard what Tian Lei said, his eyes towards Tian Lei changed immediately. He naturally knew who the two brothers Tian Li was talking about were. Although staying here might be a trick, he had to stay. Because the affairs of these two brothers are the most important to him. Kira laughed strangely. You are just a genius promoted by the navy, and you are so arrogant that you want to take me down. Tian Li turned to look at Ulki and Derek, who had already started walking out, and said, do you two want to know how strong you are now? If you want, why not stay and take a look? It's free. Oh, I won't take your money. Seeing that Tian Li ignored him, Kira immediately became angry, stamped his foot on the spot, and shot towards Tian Li. The two curved swords in his hands slashed directly towards Tian Li's chest. Tian Li had no intention of hiding at all. Instead, he stood on the spot and yelled, Iron block. At the same time, he also used advanced armed color domineering. In just an instant, Tian Li turned into a purple, of black people. Kang! Kira's two swords slashed Tian Li's body fiercely, but in addition to the sound of steel hitting Tian Li's body, it also cut off two pieces of the navy uniform on Tian Li's body. Come to a hole. None of the other hairs hurt Tian Lei. After Tian Li has a general level defense, he hasn't had a chance to use it yet. It just so happened that I could try it this time, and I was not disappointed. With the blessing of domineering and iron blocks, such an attack could be easily blocked. The most important thing is that it can be used to show off. Tian Li looked at Kira calmly and said, you only have this little strength? You learned your sword from your master's wife, right? At this time, Kira was shocked. His attack didn't even hurt a hair on someone else's body. This was what someone had said to him before. He must have killed this man with one sword, for he dared to doubt his own strength. But now. Chapter 85 Self-Abuse and Self-Abuse Devil Fruit. Tian Li pressed Kira to the ground hard. Tian Li's speed was so fast that Kira couldn't react at all. He was already pressed to the ground. Boom! A deep pit was immediately dug into the ground. This time, Tian Li came out with all its strength. How could Kira, who only had the strength of a major general, endure it? He vomited out several mouthfuls of blood. Seeing that Kira, who was evenly matched with him just now, was now pinned to the ground like a dog. Without even a hint of resistance, Ulki couldn't help but think of himself, thinking that he wouldn't be much better. When Ulki looked at Tian Li, it was no longer fear, but fear. Tian Li has already become an invincible figure in his heart. The same goes for Drake. He didn't even dare to make a single move for fear of provoking a thunderstorm. Because he didn't want to end up like Kira on the ground. Hey! Tian Li unexpectedly found that no system text appeared in his mind, which meant that this guy hadn't died yet. Young man, you're pretty tough to beat. After saying that, Tian Li immediately punched him hard again. The weight of this punch was so strong that Luo, Drake, and Erky could fully feel the violent tremors coming from the ground beneath their feet. System prompts: Kill Supernova Kira, Side Mission Sweep Nova, Defeat 6 Supernovas, Reward Armed Haki, Knowledge Haki, and 1 Awakening Factor each. Kira and Loro Zoro have been defeated, and 1/3 of the mission is completed. Hey! Isn't this task just for me to beat up children? In this way, these two people cannot let go. After all, the awakening factors of Armed Haki and Hearing Haki still attract Tian Li very much. Bartle Romeo and the others have not yet awakened their Haki, just for them. Tian Li grabbed Kira's head, carried him towards Drake and Erky, and said at the same time, I'm sorry, now I have changed my mind, it seems you can't leave. You have two choices, surrender or die. After hearing Tian Li's words, Drake and Erky had very different reactions. Drake looked at Tian Li warily. Erky, on the other hand, immediately turned around and leaped away into the distance. Tian Li looked at Ulki who was running away and smiled lightly, stretched out his free right hand, and said lightly, "Come back." While speaking, Tian Li had already activated dark water. Ulki, who was flying in the air, suddenly felt an irresistible suction force, sucking him towards the sky thunder. He looked at Tian Li with a horrified look on his face and immediately said, "I surrender." Tian Li looked at the struggling Ulki and couldn't help but sneer, "Even a person with Ace's strength can't break free, let alone you." Tian Li still smiled lightly and said, "All fruit ability users are just clouds in front of my eyes, because I am the one who deprives everyone of their abilities. And I don't like fickle people, so you should go and accompany your opponent. Kira, go." Although Ulki is now extremely afraid of thunder, he is not a person who accepts his fate easily. He immediately drew the huge stone stick towards Tian Li with a wave of his hand. Tian Li still smiled faintly, put down Kira in his hand, and then punched him. Bump! A fist and a stick were in the air, and there was a fierce collision. Click! 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 The huge stone stick in Ulki's hand was blown by the sky. The lightning cracked it open, and soon it became a pile of rubble on the ground. The smile on Tian Li's face did not change, and he said lightly, "Your boulder stick is quite stiff. I wonder if your body is as hard." Wuerji now knows that Tian Li is playing tricks on him and will not let him go at all. This time, he may be in danger. Uneasiness, fear, despair, all kinds of emotions suddenly welled up in his heart, but there was no hope at all. Even rabbits will bite people if they are cornered, let alone humans, and people like Supernova who have both potential and strength. I saw Ulki start to engage in self-abuse, that's right, self-abuse. I saw him punching himself one after another, desperately trying to hit himself. Seeing the dark lines on the faces of Drake and Luo next to them, they couldn't help but think, are they being driven crazy? Although Tian Li knew that this guy was a user with superhuman karma fruit ability, one of his abilities was that the greater the damage to his body, the greater the power he would gain after enlarging his body. The second ability can only be activated after being injured. After suffering the damage, karma will counterattack the opponent in the form of karma. This causal fruit is still very powerful, and it is the kind of ability that gets stronger with each battle. But no matter how strong the fruit power is, it can't cover it up. It is a self-abuse fruit power. Look at this guy in front of you, he was forced out. If he was not injured and could use the most powerful moves, could he abuse himself like this? Look, everyone is vomiting blood now. What about you? Mom, Tian Li said that this was the first time he saw someone vomiting blood by beating himself. This guy is now hitting faster and harder, the faster he hits, the more serious his injuries are, and the more blood he naturally vomits. Just forget it, after all, your fruit ability is like this, and you are forced to do it, there is nothing you can do about it. But Wei Mao, the more seriously he was injured and the more he vomited blood, the more he laughed. Mom, what does this mean? Could it be that he is really a masochist and has encountered a self-destructive devil fruit? If that's the case, then he's a perfect match, no one else. In the confusion of Drake and Luo, and in Tian Li's speechlessness, Ulki finally finished the self-torture, and couldn't help shouting to the sky, and then his body began to grow in size, and finally turned into a 10-meter-tall giant. Tian Li's sight and color sensed from Ulki a strength that was not weaker than that of an ordinary lieutenant general. Tian Li couldn't help but think. No matter what it is, if you put in the effort, you will definitely get something. This guy's injuries were not in vain. Ulki was vomiting blood and laughing wildly, go to hell. I am the strongest. Ha ha ha. After saying that, he punched Tian Li. Tian Li couldn't help but smile. With such strength, he didn't have to use Fei to absorb his fruit ability, and he could easily handle it. It seemed that this self-abuse was in vain, because Tian Li also punched him at this time, and punched with all his strength. Tian Li now has a strength of 9,000, which is also the top among lieutenant generals. Even though Ulki now has the strength of a lieutenant general thanks to his fruit power, he is still far from being a match for Tian Lei. Boom! Two contrasting fists, one big and one small, hit each other. Ulki was knocked out once and spit out several mouthfuls of blood in the air. Tian Li now wants to ask him, is your blood free of charge, so you don't feel bad when you vomit it? Chapter 86 received 2 stars. Dark Water. Tian Li once again activated his ability to suck Ulki back, and Tian Li's fist was already waiting for him, and he hit Ulki hard again. Watching Ulki fly out again, Tian Li couldn't help but think that this dark fruit was so useful, he could kill people just by standing there. Tian Li didn't see the system text appear in his mind, which means this guy hasn't died yet, he is indeed a masochistic maniac. Compared to that killing warrior Kira, he can take a lot more beatings. The Sky Thunder once again used dark water to suck Urki back, but when Urki was only a few meters away from the Sky Thunder, Urki suddenly smiled strangely and shouted, "Return of cause and effect." Urki's hand immediately stood up. It fired an attack similar to a shock wave. Looking at the shock wave coming towards him, Tian Li was speechless. "Didn't I tell you? All devil fruit abilities are useless to me. I can absorb all abilities that cause harm." After saying this, Tian Li said again once the dark water was activated, in Urki's fearful eyes, the dark energy sucked the shock wave into the darkness. Urki was stunned now. He could no longer think of any way to deal with Tian Li. He is completely desperate now. He is not strong enough, his strength is insufficient, his fruit abilities are useless, and there is no hope of escape. What I hate the most is people like you, who treat ordinary people as human beings, but you must know that in our eyes, you are no different from ordinary people. You can kill ordinary people at will, then we can also kill you at will, said. After that, under Urki's fearful eyes, Tian Li punched again. Urki's fruit ability is that the more he is injured, the stronger he becomes, but no matter how strong he is, the injury is still there. His injuries were already at the limit of what he could bear. Tian Li couldn't withstand this punch again and was directly KO'd. System prompts: kill Supernova Kira, side mission sweep Nova, defeat 6 supernovas, have defeated Kira, Loro Zoro, and Urgi, and half of the mission is completed. After finishing Urki, Tian Li looked at Luo and Drake and smiled faintly. Tian Li thought that his smile was quite friendly. It's a pity that he also smiled like this when he was making Urki, so when he saw Tian Li's smile, he didn't feel any sense of intimacy at all, but broke out in a cold sweat. "You guys, I know how to solve it. I won't talk about the rest because it's all nonsense. Let's get straight to the point. One of your dads let Doflamingo get killed, and one of your benefactors let Doflamingo get killed. It's really killing me. It can be said that you all hate Doflamingo to the core. And I am very unhappy with Doflamingo. Although I am not his opponent now, but with in just a few years, I will be able to surpass him in terms of ability. How about joining my warship and becoming my partner?" Luo's eyes lit up immediately after hearing Tian Li's words. He knew that Tian Li had no need to lie to him. Because he is not Tian Li's opponent now, he doesn't need any strategy to defeat him. And what Tian Li said was that his #1 goal in life, which was to become the Pirate King, could only be ranked second to this goal. So he was quite excited. He could see Tian Li's strength and potential. Derek's expression did not change, and he said calmly, "I don't breathe very much. It's all." Before Tian Li could finish speaking, he immediately interrupted. "But don't say anything to me, it's been too long. Just look at Luo and you will know that the hatred will not fade with time, but will become deeper. And tell me why you quit the navy. As long as it doesn't poke a hole in the sky, I can help you fix it, how about it?" Drake smiled self-deprecatingly. "It would be great if you could figure it out. I accidentally noticed the pacifists' research plan and investigated it. I learned that I am a user with rare ancient animal devil fruit abilities. And was very likely to become a subject. I immediately realized the seriousness of the problem. At that time, I was only a major general, and I was not qualified to know about it." Tian Lei smiled. "What big deal will happen in the future? The Navy headquarters is really short-sighted. Compared with Drake, who has huge potential, these pacifisms are nothing. Then your investigation was discovered, right? You, who shouldn't have known about it, became the only person outside the researchers and top government officials who knew about it, so you were hunted down. After that, you decisively decided to become a pirate thief? And looking for an opportunity to solve the matter. Because of this, the bounty reached 2 million belly? Drake, that's right. What a big deal. This Navy headquarters is really a big deal. Those broken machines are useless." Tian Li said with an indifferent expression. Then Tian Li said with a serious face, "Okay, now give me your answer." Drake looked at Tian Li in shock. "Can you handle this? It seems that I have underestimated your strength and status in the Navy. As long as you can handle it, there is no problem in returning to the Navy. After all, my family members are all in the Navy, and they were also in the Navy before. My childhood dream was to become an admiral." At the end of the sentence, Drake couldn't help but laugh at himself. Luo glanced at Drake, who had already made it clear that he would join Tian Li's group, and then glanced at Tian Li. "It seems that we have a common goal, so it's not impossible to join," my friends. Tianlei didn't wait for him to finish. Those who are willing to follow you, come to the navy together. If you don't want to, you can handle it yourself. How about I never interfere? Luo and Derek looked at each other and nodded together. Drake, can I still wear my Major General uniform? The implication goes without saying. Luo, I will join too, but if you don't do what you said before, I will leave. No problem. Now that we are partners, let's go to the auction house. Maybe there will be something fun there. After saying that, Tianlei tied one of Kira's and Ulki's legs together, and then dragged them to the auction house. Derek and Luo looked confused as they watched Tianlei do this. Drake couldn't help but ask, Lieutenant General Tianlei, who are you? Drake quickly got into the role and was worthy of being in the navy. You can just call me boss. Calling me Lieutenant General is too foreign. My friends all call me that. Naturally, they will be dragged out to parade. Let those pirates understand that they are causing trouble in my territory. The consequences are quite serious. Derek and Luo were speechless after hearing this, and thought at the same time, Boss, I'm afraid this is the only one in the navy, and there's also a parade. Return the territory, damn you, you think you are Capone Becky, the mafia boss. Chapter 87. It's so cool to fight against the celestial dragons. Just like that, a strange scene appeared on the island. A young and shameless naval vice-admiral dragged the bodies of two pirates and walked ahead. The two rising pirate stars, Drake and Luo Yumian, followed behind Tianlei with expressions of speechlessness and helplessness. This great spectacle immediately caused everyone to stop and start talking. Look, isn't that one of the 11 supernovas, the fallen Navy Drake and the death surgeon Trafalgar Law? Yes. Why are they following a navy? You don't know this. This navy is a genius in the navy. The number one genius in the navy who took down the Shishibukai Crocodile and Moonlight Moria is also the youngest lieutenant general in the navy, Tenrei, who is currently stationed there. On the Chambord Islands. You are blind. Look at Lieutenant General Tianlei dragging two people with him. If I read correctly, they should be one of the pirate supernovas along with Drake and Trafalgar Law. The kid pirates fought and killed the samurai Kira and the captain of the ring breaker pirates, Urgi. Why does it seem like he's dead? You are stupid. You must have met this Lieutenant General Tianlei and destroyed him. Their supernova is powerful, but are they more powerful than Crocodile and Moonlight Moria from the Shishibukai? But why do Luo and Drake follow Lieutenant General Tianlei? As soon as this question came up, everyone was bored, and none of them could figure it out. Of course, there were still many pirates in the crowd, and they saw the two supernovas, Urki and Kira, lying on the ground like dead dogs being dragged away by the powerful Vice-Admiral. If he was seen, he would probably not be treated any better than these two if he died. Naturally, these thunders were also seen. Some of the Overlord's domineering aura floated out slightly, and his eyes glanced coldly at the pirates. All the pirates that Tianlei's eyes caught could not help but shudder. Because they saw endless killing intent in Tianlei's eyes, as if they were in a field of corpses. Coupled with the fact that Tianlei's body became full of domineering due to the slight use of Overlord's domineering energy, they immediately felt that Lieutenant General Tianlei was irresistible. And Tianlei started to show off again, and said calmly, I don't care what the situation was here before, this is my territory now, and I have the final say on my territory. Whoever wants to mess around in this city. These two guys are your role models. At the end of the sentence, Tianlei lifted Kira and Ulki up. The people were so happy now. With such a strong and powerful Vice-Admiral protecting them, they immediately felt extremely safe. After finishing showing off, Tianlei came to the auction house in a swaggering manner. Sir, you can't go anytime, said the guard in front of the auction house. Me? Can't go in. Tianlei looked at the guard expressionlessly. The guard looked at Tianlei with contempt and said, yes, the navy is prohibited from entering here. Luo and Drake, who were behind Tianlei, were already looking at the guard like a dead man, and at the same time, they also held a second of silence for him. Although the two of them had only spent a short time with Tianlei, they knew very well that the new boss they recognized was not the one who played Chang Glian's cards. Tianlei punched him directly, boom. The guard immediately flew out, and with another boom, the guard knocked open the door of the auction house. As soon as the door flew open, the people inside looked at Tianlei, and Tianlei looked at the people inside, feeling a little confused. Tianlei was thinking, this is too coincidental, as soon as I came, I saw Luffy turning the celestial dragon into a dog with one punch. And the people inside were thinking, this must have come a little too fast, this Tianlong talent was beaten, the navy came over. Although he was not a general, he was still a lieutenant general. Tian Li's sweat dropped and glanced at Luffy, who was still raising his fists and doing pause, and the Tianlong people who had been beaten to death. With a speechless look on his face, just pretend I haven't been here, you continue, you continue. After saying that, he withdrew. After Tian Li retreated, he found that no one came out. He couldn't help but wonder, and shouted inside, you are all stupid. The ones who beat people are pirates, and they run away after beating them. Nothing happened to you. Yet. It's so fun to watch the Tianlong people being beaten. Is it still beneficial to you? Why don't you run away and you want me to arrest you all together? Only then did the people inside react, yes, watching the celestial dragons being beaten is not fun at all. With their peeing habits, it is really possible that they will not find pirates to vent to, but people like themselves who are unable to resist. Immediately, all the screaming people ran out. Tian Li sensed it with his sense of power and found that there were not many people inside. Immediately, they came behind the Tianlong people and gave each of them a punch, knocking Tianlong unconscious. This punch of thunder can guarantee that these two Tianlong people will become idiots even if they don't die. Then looking at the Tianlong man lying on the ground, he immediately walked over and gave him a kick. After beating the three of them, Tian Li showed a big smile. He wanted to beat you a long time ago, but he couldn't find the chance. This time he was caught by me. The feeling of beating Tianlong is different. It's so damn good. While Tian Li was enjoying himself there, the pirates who were still there were frightened and said, it would be terrible to hit one Tianlong, but now there are three of them at once, and look at the three Tianlongs on the ground now, even if they don't die, it won't be much better if you think about it. This time we are playing Dafa. There won't be three generals here. Usopp said, trembling all over, I have a bad feeling. Chopper's face was so frightened that he screamed, no, just like last time, we will fight him inexplicably. Nami, Frankie, and Brooke's expressions were not much better. In other words, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji still looked indifferent. Nico Robin smiled sweetly and said, I said, is there any difference between beating one Draco and three Draco? Usopp, Chopper, Nami, Frankie, hey? It seems there is no difference. Brooke said with tears, so, we are all going to die. The general is coming, we'd better run away. At this time, Drake and Luo happened to see the scene when they arrived. They suddenly felt that following such a boss was no worse than being a pirate. The excitement was definitely indispensable. Oh! The navy really has an interesting little guy, said the old man who was auctioned on the stage. Tian Li looked at the old man on the stage and said, hey! I didn't expect to see a legendary figure among pirates here. The Deputy Captain of Pirate King Roger, Pluto Rayleigh. Chapter 88 Shameless. As soon as the thunder came out, everyone looked at Rayleigh, even the pirates who were planning to escape. The name of One Piece is so big and loud that everyone has to care about it. As the Vice Captain of One Piece, Rayleigh also attracted much attention. Luffy, who had a strong obsession with the word One Piece, immediately said, awesome, Uncle is actually the Deputy Captain of One Piece. Usopp looked suspicious and looked at Rayleigh carefully. You can't be fake. He's just a bad old man. Oh? Really? You've met Grandpa Luffy, right? He's also a bad old man. Tian Li laughed, but he knew that Garp, a guy like this, would be left behind for these guys. Yes, an indelible impression. Luffy and the others immediately thought of the scene where Garp threw the super iron ball at them. Even Zoro and Sanji couldn't help but shed a cold sweat. There was no way this scene was too impressive. Rayleigh smiled at Tian Li, I didn't expect that some of the younger generation would know this bad old man like me. Then he turned to look at Luffy and said, I didn't expect that, Luffy, you are actually a naval hero. The grandson of the old guy Cap, I'm very curious about this old guy now, how wonderful it is to see your expression as a pirate. As soon as Rayleigh's words came out, it was equivalent to a change of direction and an admission that he was the vice captain of the Pirate King. Everyone couldn't help but take a breath. Rayleigh, little guy, you are in the navy. It seems difficult to deal with the celestial dragons. Could it be that you want to be a pirate? Luffy's eyes lit up immediately, and he said excitedly, then come to my ship. How about the thunder? Usopp immediately turned into a shark face and yelled at Luffy, don't pull anyone to the boat. Tian Li immediately said with a righteous face, don't talk nonsense. But a just navy's duty is to protect this place, how could he attack the Tianlong people? Such a thing was done by a just navy like me. Did you come out? Everyone present was shocked by the thunder, it was really rolling. You, mother, think we are blind, it was obviously you who hit him, and by the way, you also kicked the fallen Tianlong, the people's eyes are sharp. Even Lei Li made Tian Lei feel uncomfortable, muttering, you didn't hit me, could it be me? Usopp and the others felt bad again. They seemed to have seen the three generals chasing them non-stop. They suddenly felt that they had no hope of life, instantly burst into tears. Luo and Drake, please guard the door for me. I want to arrest Eustace Kid and his gang who killed 3 Draconians. Tian Li looked serious, as if he was serious. Luo and Drake both thought at the same time, can they still play like this, but when I think about it, this is really possible. There are all pirates here now. It is impossible for the navy to believe the pirates and not believe the words of Tian Li, the genius lieutenant general. After hearing this, Usopp immediately came back to life with full health. He was so happy that now we are safe. Unfortunately, the joy did not last long. Nico Robin said on the side, but everyone who went out saw Luffy fighting the celestial dragons. So, Usopp now transformed into Shark Face yelled, Nico Robin, can't you make me happy for a while? I finally forgot about this. As for Eustace Kid and his gang, they are a bit confused now. Your mother was shot while lying down. No, this is a long-range missile. Luo and Derek looked at each other. At this moment, they deeply realized how shameless their boss was. Eustace Kid was not a fool. He immediately realized that something was wrong. He was going to be used as a scapegoat, and such scapegoats are usually dead. The horse roared, everyone evacuate quickly. At the same time, Kid immediately waved his hand and all the iron objects were sucked in. Tian Li looked at it and smiled and said, I can do this trick too. Dark Cave. Dark energy immediately appeared on Tian Li's body. Suddenly, the ground in the auction house was filled with dark energy. Everything that came into contact with the dark energy was sucked down. After a while, Kid's ability was useless, because there was nothing iron left. Kid's eyelids jumped when he saw Tian Li's ability. His ability is indeed very strong, but his limitations are also great. Without iron weapons, his abilities are almost useless, unless he can advance to the next level and suck out the iron elements from the land. Tian Li, look! I can do it too. I'm just sucking something, what's the big deal? After saying that, Tian Li shaved his head and came to Kid, and punched him directly. Tian Li, whose strength has greatly increased, now understands why Garp can conquer the world with just a pair of iron fists. The combination of strong strength, iron, and the domineering look of a peerless military commander is already extremely powerful. The peerless military commander Se Baki has 10 times the amplitude of his strength. Added to the already extremely abnormal strength, there is nothing he can't blast away with one punch. Even if there is anything, he can definitely defeat it with 2 punches. Bounty system prompts that armed domineering can be divided into, primary level can be attached to the hands and feet, attack and defense are increased by half, intermediate level can be attached to the half body, can be attached to objects, and can be attached to various parts of the body at will, attack and defense are doubled, advanced can be attached to the whole body, with purple, attack and defense +1, top-notch purple and black, attack and defense +2 times, peerless purple. Attack and defense +4 times. 1248. 16. And Tian Li is now Iron Block plus High-Level Armed Color Domineering plus Junior Overlord Color Domineering. The strength is 9000, the High-Level Armed Color Domineering power is doubled, and the Junior Overlord Color Domineering power is doubled, which is tripled, a total of 2 power. Of course, those at the general level also have 4 times the top-notch armament and domineering power, and the force of the force is much higher than that of Tian Li. Therefore, Tian Li is still far inferior to them, but if Tian Li bullies, he can easily capture people under the generals. This is also Tian Li's current attacks, which are becoming more and more simple and violent. How can a person who has not even touched the domineering spirit resist the full force of Tian Li's blow, which is a full 27,000 force? Kaka. Kid saw the thunder attack coming, and also punched him. The result was predictable. Kid's entire arm, amidst Kid's screams and his disbelieving eyes, was blasted to pieces by a thunderous punch. Chapter 89 Scared the Warring States period. Without the fruit ability, you are really weak. Not even as good as your subordinate who is also one of the supernovas. As he said, Tian Li punched Kid again, hitting Kid hard. Da immediately burst out a mouthful of blood. System prompts, Kill Supernova Kid, subdue Luo and Drake, and complete the branch tasks. You will be rewarded with 1 armed haki and 1 awakening haki factor. Looking at the system text in his mind, Tian Li was happy. Nyaki Gao already had the armed color haki. This time, he helped her awaken the knowledge color haki. Coupled with her extraordinary talents in the 6 styles, she is absolutely elite. With the potential of being a lieutenant general or above, he will become one of the most powerful forces around him. Coupled with the newly acquired Luo and Drake, he definitely has the potential to become a famous general or above. There are also Bartolromi, a superpower user, and Gardino, a guy with the potential to awaken his domineering power. They have also just begun to become powerful. The others are just a little behind, but after practicing, they can reach the level of lieutenant general. However, it is hard to say which level of lieutenant general they are. As long as he and these partners grow up, even the 4 emperors themselves will not be afraid of a battle. After finishing Kid, Tian Li looked at Luffy, who was still on the side and kept circling around Rayleigh, and said, "I mean, Luffy, I'm a marine. You keep jumping around in front of me like this. It's really cool. Okay? Okay. Even if we just had a banquet, our relationship is not bad. I can't do anything to you, but I guess the general is already on his way, and they are not coming slowly." Luffy still looked indifferent, but Luxi's friends suddenly felt bad and immediately pulled Luffy and fled quickly. Before Zoro left, he came to Tian Li and said, "I know that in our competition, you did not use your true strength. I lost this time, but I will not say that I will lose again." After that, he ran away. And went. At this time, after everyone left, Tian Li swaggeringly took the devil fruit that Tianlong had photographed in his hand. He couldn't help but smile, as he never expected such a harvest. "It's the same as the one I picked up for free. It seems that there are many good things in this auction house." Thinking of this, Tian Li immediately shouted to Luo and Drake, "You two go inside immediately and move all the good things to me." Lei Li, the only one who had not left at this time, looked at Tian Lei with a black look on his face. He took away everything one by one like a Japanese invader entering the village. In the end, there was nothing left except a few tables and chairs. Rayleigh really wanted to ask, "Are you a navy guy, or a pirate? They looted cleaner than pirates. And I'm still here, boy, is it really okay for you to do this in front of me? Aren't you afraid that I'll tell you?" But looking at the joy on Tian Li's face, he completely ignored himself and did whatever he should do. Rayleigh couldn't help but was speechless. Looking at Luffy and his group who were already far away, he immediately chased after them. He had just recognized that the straw hat on Luffy's head probably belonged to the red-haired boy. At the same time, I also secretly mourned a few seconds of silence for my old rivals Sengoku and Garp. What kind of navy did you recruit? He is simply worse than a gangster, and worse than a pirate. You will have to bear with me in the future. At the same time at the Navy headquarters, Sengoku Garp suddenly shuddered at the same time. The two of them had been fighting together for who knows how many years. When they looked at each other, they both had a bad feeling. At this time, Sengoku's phone rang. Brew. Brew. War. Guo picked up. "I am Warring States, who are you?" It turned out to be the call from Tian Li, and he looked happy, while looking at Luo with a helpless look on his face. He used the room trick to continuously transport things back to his warship. While talking on the phone with Warring States, "I'm Tian Li, a big event just happened. 3 Tianlong people were beaten. I don't know whether they are alive or dead." Although Tian Li said it was a big event, his tone was a little more serious. "I don't mean to be anxious." When Sengoku and Garp heard this, their jaws immediately dropped. Such a thing as beating up the Tianlong people has never happened before. Moreover, you still don't know whether you are alive or dead after paying back 3 of them. Warring States immediately asked, "Who is the perpetrator?" Tian Li said calmly, "There are 2 groups of perpetrators. One group is the Straw Hats, one of the supernovas. They knocked out a celestial dragon and are now on the run." When Sengoku heard that it was the Straw Hats, he immediately exploded and said to Garp, "Garp, you bastard, it's your grandson again." Garp had already recovered from the shock. When he heard that it was his grandson Luffy who did it, he immediately laughed out loud, "As expected of me, he is my grandson, ha ha ha. I've wanted to beat this bullshit Tianlong for a long time." When Warring States heard what Garp said, he became even more angry, but he knew that he had no way to deal with this old dog, so he could only suppress it. Xiang Tian Li asked, "Where is the other group?" Tian Li said with a gloomy look, "It's kids group who are also supernovas. They beat up the Tianlong people and even kicked Tianlong, who was knocked unconscious by Luffy. Tianli was also happy in his heart. Come on, the greatest pleasure in life is to beat up the celestial dragons, and you don't have to take responsibility after beating them. Is there anything more enjoyable than this? I'm so damn talented, this method is also possible. Sengoku and Garp were stunned again. And the Tianlong people who fainted were not spared. How much hatred does this have against the Tianlong people? After coming back to his senses, Sengoku arrived. Tianlei, go hunt down these two groups of pirates immediately. Tianli said calmly, Martial warring states, we don't have enough manpower. Now all the supernovas are on the island. There are other underground forces who are also fishing in troubled waters. I am now clearing out the underground forces. Kid and his group, at least Luffy, you'd better send someone else. Anyway, I won't go. If you catch up and don't catch me, you will probably go crazy, Marshal. You will also go crazy if you catch Lieutenant General Garp. This is troublesome. Whoever wants to go, I won't go anyway. I don't want to suffer his iron fist again. After Tianli said that, he died immediately. Sengoku's face was so dark that he could hardly be seen. He would have frightened others to death, but next to him was Garp. Ignoring his serious expression and mood, he immediately laughed triumphantly. Sengoku immediately turned into a shark face and shouted at Garp, You old bastard, what can you be proud of? Then he immediately dialed General Kizaru's phone number. Blue. Blue. I am Jean Momomaru, who is it? I'm Sengoku, where's Kizaru? Did he get the wrong phone number again? Now go and inform him immediately. The celestial dragons of the Shampoo Islands have been beaten, and all the new pirate stars have gathered together. Tell him to go right away. The Shampoo Islands captured all these pirates. When Jean Doan heard that it was the Warring States period, he immediately said with great respect, Yes. Please rest assured with Marshal Sengoku, Jean Doan will find General Kizaru immediately and set off for the Shampoo Islands. Chapter 93 Light Policy. When the Warring States period broke through the sky, Bartolomeo, Nakajao, Xena, Kabi, and 500 Marines also rushed over. What is Tianli doing at this time? I'm giving a lecture to 500 Navy. Just listen to Tianli say, this Shampoo Islands number 1 to 29 has always been a lawless zone, such as human trafficking shops, human auctions, etc. I didn't care before, but it's different now. This is the place I control. My place cannot tolerate such darkness. We are the Navy of Justice. How can we allow such a dark place to appear openly in front of us? Tianlei almost roared at the end. The Navy roared, No. No. Tianli shouted excitedly, Okay, what I want is this momentum. With this momentum, all the darkness will be broken by us. These human traffickers are the most abominable. They have brought countless innocent families to the whole family was ruined. Maybe the next slave they capture will be our new man. Can something like this happen to him again? The Navy once again shouted, No. No. Tianli, this group of human traffickers are the most damned guys. So I give you 3 orders for them, which are to kill them all, rob them all, and burn them all. Kill them all without leaving anyone behind, and rob them all. Ill-gotten gains, burn down their criminal sites. If anyone dares to touch civilians, don't blame me for being rude. The 500 Navy were fooled by the thunder, and they rushed into all the illegal buildings and shops on the street with great excitement, and began to kill them. After this battle, Tianli had 2 completely opposite titles. Pirates and underground forces called him the Killing General. The people called him the Star of Hope, because no navy had ever been so strong against these underground forces, which gave them hope. Drake came over with a worried look on his face. Among the people in Tianli, he was the one who knew the navy best, and the others all came out halfway. He hurriedly said, Boss, are you sure everything is fine? You must know that this underground force is very complicated. Tianli looked at Drake as if he were a fool. I am a righteous navy. Can I do this kind of thing of killing everyone, looting and burning them all? It was obviously done by the pirates, we just couldn't save him in time. Derek and Luo looked at Tianli speechlessly. Damn it, this seems to be the order you just gave. This is so damn shameless, but this is really a good idea. But Drake was still a little worried. Those navy. Bartolomeo said with a smile, those navies, when they boarded our boss's warship, they were linked to our destiny. If we are good, they will be good. If we are not good, they can still be good. Okay? Even if there are some small-minded guys among them, their small-mindedness will be wiped out after what happened today. Who do you think the Navy headquarters will choose between them and the boss? Even though they are just ordinary Navy, but they are not fools. Once this matter is exposed, they will % take the blame. After hearing what Bartolomeo said, Tian Li looked at him in surprise. He really didn't show his true face, this little gangster can still say such a thing. After hearing this, Drake thought about it and realized that, with the virtue of the Navy, he might still do this. And NBSP, it only took an hour for Tian Li to take people to visit the 1 to 29 islands. It can be said that corpses were everywhere, but the people in these places did not feel a trace of desolation and sadness. Instead, they cheered because every one of the criminals who were oppressing them were killed. But they, the people, were not hurt at all. No matter how stupid they were, they understood that it was the Vice Admiral who was cleaning up the underground forces. Their good days are coming. At this time, Tian Li's phone rang, and Tian Li answered, "I am Lieutenant General Tian Li, who am I?" The phone bug immediately roared, "I am Warring States, Tian Li, what are you doing? Do you know how many nobles in the world have come to me to complain against you?" The phone bug on the Warring States side immediately turned into an innocent expression, "I don't know either. I was just chasing Kid. Now I have killed Kid's 2 supernovas and their crew members." Killed. That is to say, while chasing Kid, I also cleared all the illegal areas from 1 to 29 of the Chambord Islands. Listen to the cheers of the people here. This is what I did. Hearing such a beautiful sound made me practice hard. Oh. I'm wrong. Did I do something wrong before? And I only cleaned the illegal areas from number 1 to 29 of the Chambord Islands. I didn't do anything in other places. Could it be that these illegal areas are actually those nobles opened it? No way. Then wouldn't they become the filthiest people in the world? At this time, the phone bug on Tian Li's side immediately turned into a gentleman, but said arrogantly, "We are nobles, how can it be possible that these illegal things are ours?" Lieutenant General Tian Li. Please pay attention to your words. Tian Li was a little stunned. The phone bug's expression and way of speaking were obviously not from the Warring States period. Damn it, did someone really sue Jean? Tian Li calmed down and said calmly, "This distinguished sir, if this is the case, what are you going to sue me for? I have done such a great service, and the reward is not enough, so why are you suing me? This distinguished sir, tell me where I have offended you, and I will change it immediately." Tian Li is talking about this noble man, but he is secretly happy to see if I don't suffocate you to death. Doesn't he understand these nobles yet? He can do the dirtiest things in the world, but on the surface, he won't admit it even to death. As the saying goes, face is the most important thing. Face is more important than anything else. Phone bug, you. At this time, the phone bug's voice changed to Jean's voice again, "Tian Li, you have made a great contribution this time. After you return to the headquarters, you will be rewarded. Let's do this for now." As soon as the phone call was disconnected, Bartolomeo immediately laughed, "Boss, you are so good at pretending. This stubborn nobleman is suffocating you to death. Drake, you did it well this time, but they will inevitably cause trouble for you in the future." Tian Li sneered after hearing this, made 2 gestures with his fist and said, "In the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies and tricks are nothing." Luo, who was silent on the side, immediately lit up when he heard this, and whispered in his mouth, "Absolute strength? Absolute strength? Yes, what I want is absolute strength." Luo murmured louder and louder. He stood up, causing everyone to look at him. Chapter 91 Ice Flame Fruit. After a while, Swina came over with joy, "Boss, we have made a fortune this time. Guess how many berries we have? How many gold and silver jewelry? How many famous swords? How many devil fruits?" Tian Li was a little stunned when he heard this. Famous sword? Devil fruit? It seems that this time I really made a profit. Both of these are things that even if you have money, you may not be able to buy them. Bartolomeo immediately said, "Xuanai, don't be too pretentious, tell me quickly, let us be happy together." Nyaki Gao also said, "You girl, tell me quickly." Xuanai said excitedly, "We have really made a fortune this time. There are 35 billion berries alone, and the total gold, silver and jewelry are about 40 billion berries. There are 3 famous swords, one of the 21 swords, Zhen Zong, Zhenheng and Dingli, one of the 50 skills of Liang Kui Dao. There are 1 superhuman type and 1 animal type of devil fruit, not counting the one the boss took from the celestial dragon. The most powerful one is, and got a natural devil fruit. As Skyna said, she took out all 8 devil fruits. At this moment, everyone couldn't help but stand up, including Tianlei. No matter how bad the natural system is, it can't be much worse. Tianlei said to Niu Qijao, "No Qi Gao, you eat it right away." At the same time, he thought that it seemed that he had offended the underground forces this time, let alone bagels and gold and silver jewelry. There are 3 swords alone, and 4 devil fruits, especially this natural devil fruit. It seems that the strength of this underground force cannot be underestimated. It seems that we need to be more careful and prepared in the future. These guys will definitely not be willing to suffer such heavy losses. Nakajao looked at Tianlei in shock, as did everyone else. This natural devil fruit was a priceless treasure. It can't be measured by berry. Tianlei looked at Nakajao who was staying there, and immediately said, "Eat it quickly. If the top brass of the navy knew about this natural devil fruit, even I wouldn't be able to protect it, but if I eat it now, they can't either what to do with us. Moreover, our strength will also be greatly increased, and our power to speak will also be greater when the time comes." Bartolomeo also said, "Nojigo, hurry up and eat it. We are all curious now, what kind of natural fruit this is. Hurry up! Hurry up!" He ate this devil fruit amidst the urging and anticipation of everyone, but as soon as he ate it, Najiko immediately started vomiting wildly. Everyone present was very knowledgeable about this smell, they couldn't help but feel a little nauseous. It's impossible for people who have never eaten it to experience this taste, but everyone present has eaten it. After a while, Nakajao came to his senses and said with a bitter look on his face, "If I had known, this devil fruit would be so unpalatable, I would never eat it even if I died." Bartolomeo immediately came to Najajao's side and said with deep sympathy, "Yes. I remember back then." Tianlei immediately said, "Stop. Bartolomeo, what you think about now is better to be discussed later. Let Nakajao see what he is capable of." "Yes, yes. This is the point." Bartolomeo also returned to the theme. Najajao felt it for a moment, and light blue flames immediately appeared on his body, but Bartolomeo beside him immediately shuddered and couldn't help but said, "Holy crap! What kind of flame is this? Why? It's colder than ice. I'm freezing to death." When Tianlei saw the flames coming out of Nyoki Jao's body, he knew that this time, he had really made a profit. This is an offensive natural devil fruit, which is more powerful than the smoking gun. Much stronger. Moreover, this flame is actually bone-chilling. It seems to be a relatively special natural fruit ability, on the same level as my cheap uncle's rock fruit. Amid everyone's expectations, Nyoki Jao said excitedly, "This is a natural ice flame fruit. It has the ability to freeze everything, and it also has the ability to burn with flames. But how to burn if frozen?" Bartolomeo asked everyone's question. Nyoki Jao explained, "While freezing others, it will also burn others. Ice flame is a kind of flame burning in ice." Tianlei was stunned. This didn't seem to be ordinary awesomeness. Isn't this the combination of General Aokiji's frozen fruit and Fire Fist Ace's burning fruit, now with such a powerful fruit ability, coupled with Naka's high proficiency in the 6 styles and armed color haki. His strength is estimated to be that of a lieutenant general, and he is not an ordinary lieutenant general. Nakajao immediately became the second master of Tianlei's group, ranking only behind Tianlei. Tianlei immediately used it on Nakajao again, and he saw and heard the domineering awakening factor. Tianlei couldn't help but feel proud. He had trained Nyoki Jao from an ordinary person to a top expert. This gave Tianlei a sense of accomplishment. Tianlei immediately said, "Nyoki Jao, go to the beach and try it. How powerful is your fruit ability?" A group of people came to the beach excitedly. Now Nyochi Gao had not developed the fruit ability, so he could only shoot out the ice flames initially. A bucket-thick ice flame hit the sea from Nyochi Gao's hand. Wherever the ice flame passed, the sea surface immediately froze. This ice flame only traveled 100 meters away. But in this world that was completely turned into ice within 100 meters, its power was no worse than that of General Qing Pheasant. The most important thing was that there were actually blossoms in the ice, and strange blue flames were beating in it. Tianlei could see that some debris from the sea and some piles of wood were frozen in the ice. But the strange thing is that these blue flames are burning on the wooden board, but there is nothing wrong with the wooden board. Tianlei, Nyoki Jao, go get a piece of ice with a wooden board. Others did not dare to go and try the power of this weird flame. After a while, Nakajao brought a piece, and everyone waited for it to melt, but half an hour later, it still showed no sign of melting, not even a drop of water dripped down. They had no choice but to light a few fires next to the ice and start practicing, but it took 2 hours to bake it. But as the ice melted little by little, after the ice turned into water, there was no trace of the wooden board, as if it had turned into water together with the ice, without any trace. Seeing this weird scene, everyone was a little stunned for a while. After holding it in for a long time, Bartolomeo only said one sentence, "Nacho, from this time on, you will be awesome." Even Luo, who has always had a fishy face, also showed shock on his face. This ability is not simple anymore. Drake couldn't help but said, "I guess the fruit abilities of the three generals cannot compare to the power of this ice flame." Tian Li suddenly laughed slyly. "The ice flame of Nyokijo is a flame in the ice, and it is like a flame in the ice. What do you think will happen if a big ice block like Kingji encounters this ice flame?" Tian Li's words immediately made everyone stunned again. Bartolomeo opened his mouth and said, "Isn't this the fuel of the ice flame?" I suddenly felt sad for General Qing Pheasant. I mourned 3 seconds of silence for him. Kind. Chapter 92 Kizaru in the Eyes of Thunder. At this time, a powerful aura came over, and Tian Lei, who awakened the Overlord's Haki, recognized this powerful aura as the Overlord's Haki. As for the people on this island, there are only 2 people with Overlord-colored Haki, and one is Luffy. However, he only awakened during the battle on the top, so there is only one person. That is Pluto Rayleigh, the vice-captain of One Piece, and the only one who can make him burst into Overlord-like domineering energy is Kizaru. Tian Li said, "Bartolomeo, you, Shni, and Kabi are here to guard the money. Luo, Drake, and Nakajo are taking these devil fruits with me to see this kind of general-level battle." After a while, several people arrived, not far away from Kizaru and Rayleigh. At this time, they had not started fighting, but they were just fighting with each other's momentum. "Just listen to Kizaru say, 'It's your turn to appear?' Pluto Rayleigh. There's nothing we can do. What if we don't take action? These are all my friends." Rayleigh said with a faint smile. Others were afraid of the Admiral, but Rayleigh was really helpless. He wanted to leave but no one would stay. "Gotta come down." Kizaru still had the same lazy look. "How scary. But you can't just let you take these people away. I can't explain the Tianlong people. It's so troublesome." The two couldn't reach an agreement. The atmosphere immediately became tense, and a fight was about to break out. I really didn't expect that Luffy would still be targeted by Kizaru, but just in time, we can take a look at how strong this Kizaru is. You know, many people in the previous life said that Kizaru was the weakest among the 3 generals. Even his teacher Zifa said that he paid too much attention to fruitful abilities. But Tian Li didn't think so. From the original 3 generals to the current 3 generals, only one person's position has not changed, and that is Kizaru. Kizaru has always looked like a carefree person, hardworking even if he said it, and lazy even if he said he was lazy. In short, he feels tepid and neither good nor good. But as one of the world's top experts, what is the upper limit of Kizaru's strength? This is actually hard to say. Because it seems that Kizaru has never fought with all his strength so far. Akainu and Aokiji fought for the position of marshal for 10 days, while Kizaru just watched from the sidelines. Then we might as well change a perspective, not from the perspective of performance, but from the settings. Speaking of Kizaru's setting, it's incredible. Some of his moves are actually based on Japan's 3 major artifacts. That's right, it's the Tian Kong Yun sword, the 8-foot mirror, and the 8-foot Kyung Megatama. These 3 artifacts are known to everyone in the Japanese animation industry. No matter what the work is, as long as these 3 names appear, it must be a powerful element that can influence the direction of the world. There's no way, Japan is such a piss poor, but in the world of One Piece, it's just Kizaru's 3 moves. Among them, the Amon Kong Unsword is the most famous, or its other name is Kusanagi sword. It is definitely a peerless sword among anime swordsmen. However, in One Piece, these 3 artifacts not only did not appear as treasures, but instead became moves. And these 3 moves were given to Kizaru by Oda. This is really contrary to the common sense of the Japanese people. You must know that in their eyes, these 3 artifacts are like treasures. If the 3 artifacts don't appear, that's it. But now that it has appeared, Tian Li Dai doesn't believe it. It will only be a supporting role. What about 3 unknown tricks? This is too unreasonable. Then think of what Kizaru has been doing. Perhaps, he is the strongest among the 3 generals. These 3 moves based on artifacts are definitely not as simple as what we have seen. At least Kizaru must be hiding something. While Tian Lei was thinking about it, Kizaru and Rayleigh had already made some moves. Lei Li pulled out the sword on his waist and pointed it at Kizaru, and said with a smile, "These little guys, I will keep them safe." Before Rayleigh finished speaking, a large amount of sword light turned into silver brilliance and poured out from Rayleigh's sword crazily. Rayleigh flicked his hand, and the sword light on the sword pressed against the ground and rushed towards Porosalino. In a flash, he was in front of Kizaru in an instant. "It seems that I can't take these people away without defeating you. Come on. Let me see how much strength the original legend has left." Kizaru looked at this with huge impulse. The slash that was coming towards him couldn't help but show a little more fear on his face. Tian Kanjiun's sword. Huang Yuan raised his hand to gather the light energy and formed the Tian Kanjiun sword, and then immediately blocked it in front of his chest. When the weapons collided, a huge sound wave was emitted, and the same powerful shock wave spread out with the two people as the center. The two were knocked back several steps by this powerful force. Rayleigh did not stop his attack. He stabilized his position and immediately stepped on the ground. Rayleigh's figure disappeared in a flash, and he quickly rushed towards Kizaru close to the ground. Kizaru looked at the figure rushing over and could only continue to defend passively. Boom sound. Lei Li's sword and Kizaru's Tian Kangyun sword once again clashed wildly together. This time the energy of the two collisions was even more powerful, obviously several times greater than the previous blow. Thinking about it, the previous blow was just a tentative attack, this time it was a real attack. I saw that the two collision energies carried a huge impact, and huge dust was raised from the ground. The entire earth was shaking, and this huge impact instantly spread in all directions, and buildings near the battlefield were moved to the ground. "Ah, run away! Run away! The house is going to collapse!" Residents around the battlefield fled from the collapsed houses one after another, and the scene was chaotic. Even Tianlei and others were affected to a certain extent. Luo stared at the two people fighting. "I don't know who is stronger between them and him." Tianlei looked at Luo Yi and smiled. "Dong Quixote da Flamingo is indeed very strong, but compared with them, he is still far behind. With the qualifications of the three of you, it will be a matter of time before you catch up with him." After the two energies collided, Rayleigh and Kizaru were instantly separated by a distance of hundreds of meters. Their eyes met. Kizaru pointed at Rayleigh with the Tian Kangyun sword and said disapprovingly, "He is indeed a legendary pirate, you still have such strength now, if you were a few years younger, yo. It would be really scary to think about it." Pluto Rayleigh. However, it seems that this attack is not enough. Rayleigh still smiled lightly and said, "It seems that your strength has increased a lot in the past few years." As soon as Rayleigh finished speaking, a domineering aura immediately wrapped around his body. Kizaru Ma felt a powerful and domineering aura erupting from Rayleigh. Kizaru couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and muttered, "Let me tell you, those of you who are kings are the most troublesome." Thinking about it, even if Kizaru faced him, Rayleigh's powerful domineering aura would still have great influence. Pressurized. Chapter 93. On Tian Li's side, Tian Li, who also had the domineering look of a king, looked indifferent. Cold sweat broke out on the heads of the other three. The suppressive force was still too powerful for them. Hakuku mirror at this time, Kizaru also started to fight back. 100 meters away, for Kizaru with the shining fruit, it was no different than being right next to him. Kizaru flashed along the path of the 8-foot mirror, and his figure immediately appeared in front of Rayleigh, with the sky cloud sword in his hand drawn out. Boom! Unfortunately, the sword missed the target. Lei Li's figure had long since disappeared. The Tian Kangyun sword struck the ground directly with a loud sound. "Hey!" Rayleigh's figure flashed out from the side of Kizaru, wrapped around his weapon and kicked Kizaru's side with a domineering kick. Kizaru's speed is not only fast, but also his reaction speed is not slow. Kang Yunjian blocked it, but was still kicked sideways. It was at this time that Bartholomew Bear, one of the Shishibukai, appeared next to Tian Li. While looking at Luo and Drake with bright eyes, Tian Li slapped his head and forgot that these two guys were still being rewarded. Tian Li had no choice but to watch, and immediately said to Kizaru, "General Kizaru, stop this guy. Now Luo and Drake are my subordinates. And you too. A fight is necessary, the Straw Hats have already killed Bartholomew Bear." Kizaru was stunned after hearing this, and said lazily, "In this case, there is really no need to fight, but I can't stop them." "And Lieutenant General Tian Li, you really accept these two people? Is there no problem? Both of them are supernovas. One is a traitor in the navy." Tian Li also followed suit, and Kizaru said lazily, "Oh. That's it. Then I can only use explosive power. Tian Li just shaved his head and came to Bartholomew, who was obviously an android. He hit the head of the bear and then kicked it hard. Boom! The android Bartholomew bear immediately turned into a pile of scrap metal. Hey! Is this really a good thing? Lieutenant General Tian Li, I brought these out for testing. One less person. I want the old guy Vegapunk to scold me. Kizaru looked at the things on the ground. Scrap iron, his face immediately became bitter. It's not my fault. I can't watch my subordinates get beaten. Tian Li looked indifferent. Anyway, after this time, he will definitely be dispatched. You must know that those world nobles are not vegetarians. They can't save face openly, but secretly they will never let Tian Lei have an easy time. At this time, a fat man rushed over and shouted, "Who dares to destroy X1?" After saying that, seeing Luo and Drake behind Tian Li, without saying a word, he waved his giant axe and rushed towards come over. Tian Li couldn't help but think that these two people really had a lot of hatred, but this time there was no need for Tian Li to take action. Kizaru immediately shouted, "Jean Momoan, stop quickly, this is Lieutenant General Tian Li, don't be unreasonable." He didn't want Jean Momomaru and Tian Li to conflict, after all, it was definitely Jean Momoan who was injured. Without the Straw Hats, Kid and his gang had been killed by the thunder. The people who beat up the celestial dragons had been dealt with, so the battle was naturally over quickly. One day later, everyone left, leaving only Tian Li stationed here, but Tian Li knows. The headquarters dealt with him quickly, but Tian Li was not careful at all. Because now the headquarters has more headaches than me, because Tian Li gave the nature-expelling devil fruit to Nakajao. This time, all other harvests were given to the headquarters, which can be said to have loosened the headquarters funds a lot. What's more, Tian Li killed 3 supernovas and collected 2, which was a great achievement. In addition, the 6th-style master Nyokijao has become a natural ability user, and has huge potential. Tian Li's small force has grown a lot, and more importantly, he learned from the 2 lieutenant generals that Tian Li has awakened the overlord's domineering energy, and if his strength goes further, he will definitely have the strength to prepare for a general. Finally, there is a great supporter, General Akainu. Naturally, nothing serious will happen. At most, he will be kept in cold storage for a few years. Sure enough, not long after, Senguo's call finally came. "I'm Senguo. Is Lieutenant General Tian Lei here?" Tian Li answered the phone call and said calmly, "Where are you going to send me? At least I have received so many benefits for the headquarters, so give me more choices." Warring States couldn't help being stunned when he heard Tian Li's words. He looked at Lieutenant General He beside him and thought at the same time. Lieutenant General Tian Li seems not only to have strong fists and strong strength, but also has a very good mind. Maybe he is not only a general, but also a marshal. After all, Tian Li could think of what they were going to do with him, and he also thought of many of the twists and turns that came here. Otherwise, for a person who has made meritorious deeds, he would not be rewarded, but would be punished. But it is hard to understand. I had prepared some words before to prevent Tian Li from having other thoughts about the headquarters. Now it seems that all my words are left. Warring States said, "Tian Lei, since you have calculated it, you are probably the most powerful among them. Don't worry, I won't let you be silent for too long. Now there are 3 places you can choose from, one is CP9, one is Sihai Inspector, and the other is Captain of Impel City." When Tian Li heard the 3 choices, he immediately had a goal. "I think this is the result of your negotiation with them, Marshal. Otherwise, the end will be even worse." "Thank you. But they are really good to me. A giveaway I'll be a killer. One made me a powerless official. The last one simply fell into darkness." Warring States said helplessly, "There is no other way, and it is the best result I can strive for. After all, you made a big fuss this time and offended almost all the nobles. Then I'll go to Impel City. That's right. I really need to go to this place once. There is a fruit ability waiting for me there." Then he added, "However, I want my companions to go with me, and the bounties on Luo and Drake have been withdrawn. This time, the headquarters owes you Tian Li, so be it. I heard Admiral Akainu say about your idea of the strongest single naval ship. I will not break you up. Except for Yukata and the others are with you. Let's go to Push City together for a while." When Warring States heard that Tian Lei was going to Push City, he was immediately stunned. He didn't expect Tian Lei to choose this place, but he didn't ask why. After hanging up the phone, all the friends Tian Li called said, "Let's go to the city." Ha ha ha. These idiots, this is a good place to practice. When we come out again, the whole world will be ours. Vibrating. Chapter 94 Ability Replicator Gamenyo. 2 days later, a warship moved forward rapidly. At the same time, a pirate ship was also moving quickly. The directions of the two ships were exactly opposite, and almost at the same time, both sides discovered each other. "Captain, a warship appears ahead." A pirate named Luo quickly walked into the captain's room and said to the pirate captain, "Oh? We met the navy here? Then we can't let them get away, otherwise they may be exposed. You must know that this is the edge of the Impel City, and it will not be fun if they are exposed. Get closer and kill them." "Captain." He didn't care at all about the Rear Admiral class warship that appeared in front of him. At the same time, Swina also descended from the top of the ship. "Boss, a pirate ship appeared in front, and it seems to be a big shot." Tian Li and several other friends who were basking in the sun immediately became energetic. "Which pirate group is it?" Tian Li also became interested. Swina said a little scared, "If I'm not mistaken, it's the Whitebeard pirates." "What? Whitebeard pirates?" At this moment, Tian Li immediately became excited. "You must know that any one of the Whitebeard pirates would be at the level of an elite lieutenant general." Tian Li and others looked over at the same time. "Hey? This guy actually came over. It seems that he is really a heavyweight guy, otherwise he really wouldn't have such courage. Bartolomeo, you stay to guard the ship, and the others will go to the other side with me to see what kind of big shot this person is." Tian Li immediately made arrangements. When Bartolomeo heard Tian Li's arrangement, his face immediately turned dark. He used to be very proud of his abilities, but now he is complaining a little. But he also knew that with his fruit ability, he was indeed the best choice to guard the ship. Tian Li looked at Luo, and Luo immediately understood. Room. A semicircular cover appeared instantly, covering the pirate ship of the Whitebeard pirates opposite. Tian Li, Luo, Nakajao, Drake, Shni and Kabi appeared at the highest point of the pirate ship in an instant. Tian Li said to Luo, "This move of yours is really useful. It's good at attacking, jumping and running." Then he turned around and saw that the pirates hadn't noticed yet, but a few of them were coming. Tian Li said jokingly, "Hey! Pirate brothers below, where are you looking at?" The pirates below heard someone talking above their heads and immediately looked over. They found that Tian Li and his party of 5 were all wearing navy uniforms. They immediately knew that the navy from the opposite side was coming, but they just couldn't figure out how these navy came. "What's wrong? Are you dumbfounded?" But having said that, there was a heavyweight coming to me in the future. But now when I look at it, I can't find anyone I recognize. It seems that they are at Whitebeard's place, which is little Luo. What a disappointment! After finishing speaking to them, Tian Li said again, "Nyoki Jao, you haven't used it on anyone since you got your ability. This time it's better. I'll give you a chance to test its power." The pirates below suddenly became angry. They didn't take him seriously. One of them came out and said coldly, "I really didn't think about it." Arrived, randomly encountering a warship, it turned out to be Lieutenant General Tian Li, the most powerful genius in the Navy. It seems that God is also helping us, with you now. Are you still afraid that the Navy won't release Brother Ace? Tian Li was stunned after hearing this, and couldn't help but think that Ace had sent Blackbeard to the Navy, but in this way, this time it is really a heavyweight. Because from what he said, he was coming for Ace. As long as it was related to Ace, Whitebeard would never send a Luo over. It seems that he is a person who has never appeared before. Nyaki looked down coldly, waved his hand, and a blue flame flew towards the pirate leader. Everything it passed turned into ice, even in the air, freezing the air into ice. But at this moment, Tian Li saw something that shocked his eyes. I saw the pirate leader crossing his 2 index fingers and aiming at the ice flame waved by Nakajao. Then he shouted coldly, "Crossfire!" Immediately, a powerful cross-shaped flame shot out from his hand. Tian Li dares to swear to God that this crossfire move has definitely been used by Ace in his previous life, but how could this guy do it? It's a pity that this guy's flame is obviously no match for Nyoki Jao's ice flame. As soon as his flame encounters the ice flame, it is also frozen into red ice flowers. This scene stunned everyone on both sides. Obviously this guy's flame is also a fruit ability. But the two are not on the same level at all. Kabi couldn't help but said, "Now Nyaki is taller, but she is going to be awesome. This is a flame that can freeze the flames." It seems that the Navy will soon have a female general-level master. After listening to Kuba's words, Luo and Drake couldn't help but nodded. Their ability to recognize their own fruits was very good, but compared with Nakajao's ice flame, they were far behind. But at this time, Tian Li found that the guy opposite didn't have any fear at all, and instead laughed. It seems that you don't know my name, the ability replicator Gamenyo. How dare you do it in front of me? Using such a powerful ability. Gamenyo, the master of abilities, Gameno, no, Tian Li remembers that before he wore it, Oda Daisaku set up a new character called Copy Fruit Power User Chameleon, who only appeared after Whitebeard's death. He is a crew member of the original Whitebeard pirates, with a bounty of 3 billions of Baileys. Not only can you copy other people's appearance, but you can even copy other people's skills. It is completely the ultimate evolved version of Mr. Tu's ability. It really happened to me. However, this time, it's going to be a tough fight. This guy has such a powerful fruit ability, and his strength is definitely not much different. I saw Gameno's cold smile and his eyes changing mysteriously. Then with a wave of his hand, an ice flame that was as tall as Nyaki hit Tian Li and his group. It's a pity. The ability is strong, but there are no moves. I really don't know what you are doing, woman. You have such a powerful ability, but you haven't developed it properly. Nyoki Jo was stunned for a moment when he saw that the other party had the same ability as him and called him. However, Nyoki Jo was no longer what he used to be, and he immediately reacted and hit in the air in one step. Luo Ye used room again and moved everyone aside instantly to avoid the attack. But they also looked at Gamenyo with horrified faces. Chapter 95. This is an additional update for book friends _______u_____. The 1th update. Nyoki Jo saw the trick, but Tian Li saw the person. Now his jaw and eyeballs have dropped. What did Tian Li see? The moment this guy used Nyoki high power, he actually became Nyochi Gao. Although it was only for a moment, Tian Li could still see it clearly. If it weren't for the different clothes, Tian Li would really not be able to tell which one was real and which one was fake. It seems that this is the ability. Not the side effects. But not many men would turn into women for the sake of ability, even for just a moment. Others don't know, but it's impossible for Heaven to do this anyway. But why didn't he turn into Ace when he used Ace's ability? This is too weird. But it doesn't matter. If you take away his copying ability, you can naturally find out. Tian Li couldn't wait any longer. He didn't even want to ask Nyochi to practice his skills. He immediately shouted, "Dark water!" As soon as Tian Li activated the dark water, Gamenyo immediately felt an irresistible suction force, sucking him towards Tian Li. Gamenyo's expression suddenly changed. As an ability replicator and an ability hunter, as soon as he heard about a powerful ability, unless it was someone much stronger than him, he would try his best to get it. Therefore, he has seen a lot of ability users. But this was the first time I encountered the ability of Tian Li that made me unable to resist. Although Gamenyo felt fear in his heart, he was a strong man after all, and he was not ready to surrender. He watched as he got closer and closer to the thunder. Gamenyo shouted loudly, "Holy fire! Shiranui!" Gamenyo's hands burst into intense flames, and then turned into 2-meter-long flame spears and attacked Tian Li. It seemed that Gamenyo's flame spear attack made Tian Li couldn't help but smile. It was really amazing that he could have two abilities at the same time. The stronger Gamenyo's ability is, the happier Tian Li will be, because in Tian Li's eyes, this copying ability is already his own. Tian Li immediately used an iron block on his chest, and at the same time, he was filled with armed domineering energy. Then he ignored Gamenyo's flame spear attack and punched Gamenyo hard in the abdomen. Gamenyo was knocked out and spit out several mouthfuls of blood in the air. In just an instant, Gamenyo had already flown out of the pirate ship. As soon as Gamenyo fell into the sea, the battle would be over. Tian Li couldn't help but smile on his face, but the next moment, he was stunned again. Gamenyo, who was about to fall into the sea, turned into a phoenix and flew up again, and his injuries healed in an instant. Tian Li's smile became even brighter. This was his third ability. After obtaining this ability, he could also use 3 abilities. How powerful this must be! Then Tian Li cursed secretly, "Holy crap! How are you going to fight this?" With the Ice Flame Fruit ability, the Burning Fruit ability to attack, and the Phoenix Fruit ability to recover, I'm going to be invincible. Tian Li still doesn't believe it. Doesn't Gamenyo have any shortcomings? After taking a closer look, Gamenyo, who flew back to the pirate ship, finally discovered it. Tian Li found a drop of sweat on Gamenyo's face. You must know that after becoming a superhuman, people generally don't sweat easily. Unless the physical exertion is a bit heavy, or the temperature outside is extremely high. Gamenyo has two abilities, Ice Flame and Burning. When is of no use to him, so there is only one possibility. Even when he used the phoenix to recover from his injuries, he had consumed a lot of energy. Even with the phoenix ability, it was impossible to recover without loss. Gamenyo's eyes once again turned into a strange color, and Tianli knew that he was copying his ability again, and he was copying the ability of his own dark fruit. After a while, Gamenyo laughed, this punch is really worth it. I actually got such a strong ability, I really made a lot of money. Before he could finish speaking, Gamenyo stretched out his right hand, and a wave of dark power emerges. Tianli immediately felt an irresistible suction force, sucking him up. Tianli couldn't help but smile bitterly. He didn't expect that he would be hit by this move. But Tianli is not afraid, he knows that this secret ability is quite scary to masters who are proficient in physical skills and domineering. And from the blow just now, Tianli also knew that the person with eyesight was also a person who valued abilities and was not good at practicing physical skills. Just like the Phoenix Marco, after being hit by Kizaru, there was no change in his recovery from the injury, which shows that he has super physical strength. Needless to say, the current Gamenyo is also very weak in physical strength. But also, if Tianli had such a perverted ability in the beginning, how could he have practiced physical skills well? Gamenyo looked at Tianli getting closer and closer, and grabbed Tianli's neck. Look. Just now, you were arrogant, how about now? Ha ha ha. All abilities are useless in front of me. Because as long as I take a look, I can copy it, and copy it together with the moves. There is no ability in this world that I can't get. Ha ha ha. Tianli, who was grabbed by the neck, sneered, haha. Really? I don't think so. After saying this, Tianli instantly turned into a black man. He grabbed Gamenyo's hand and squeezed it hard. Gamenyo screamed immediately, and now he had a look of fear on his face. He hadn't noticed it before when the Sky Thunder user was domineering. Only then did he realize how domineering and powerful Tianli was. He has encountered people using domineering before, but never like today. Just being pinched by the opponent's hand, he felt as if his arm was about to be broken. The most important thing is that no matter how hard he struggles, he can't break free from his opponent's hand. Now he understands what Whitebeard said to his father, no matter how strong his ability is, his body is also fundamental. If the body is not strong, no matter how strong the ability is, it will be useless against a real master. This time it was Tianli's turn to grab Gamenyo's neck and said, look. You were arrogant just now, how about now? Haha. A drop of cold sweat dropped from Gamenyo's head. This was too damaging, so he returned what he said. Furious, Gamenyo shouted, do you think this is all I have? Tianli directly punched Gamenyo in the abdomen again. Pfft. Gamenyo spit out a mouthful of blood again. Gamenyo, who couldn't break free no matter how hard he struggled, finally went crazy, in this case, just die. The burning ability will self-destruct. Boom. Chapter 96 Copying Ability. Tianli had already heard what Gamenyo said and knew something was wrong, and immediately shouted loudly, Luo takes people back to the ship. The moment Luo took people away, a strong explosion erupted from Gamenyo. Incomparable shock wave. Seeing that Luo and the others were not affected, Tianli breathed a sigh of relief. He himself was already covered in dark energy. After the shock wave, Tianli still stood there unscathed, but he was standing in the air, because Gamenyo's pirate ship had been blown into powder by his blow. Although this blow did not hurt Tianli, it also made Gamenyo break away. By this time he had transformed into the form of a phoenix. Aren't you stupid? You already have the ability of the dark fruit. Don't you know that the dark fruit can absorb all fruit damage? Although this ability to self-destruct is indeed awesome, it is still useless. Lei started to attract hatred again. Sure enough, when Gamenyo heard Tianli's words, his eyes looked at Tianli full of anger. If this anger could burn, Tianli would have been burned to ashes long ago. Gamenyo yelled, go to hell! A streak of ice flames swung towards the Sky Thunder. The Sky Thunder was in the air, walking leisurely on the moon steps, looking at Gamenyo's attack and smiling. This guy's brain was kicked by a donkey, right? Is there any use in launching such an attack in the air? If he were like General Aokiji and kept using various moves, it would be okay. But people came and went with just this one move, attacking in a straight line like ice. Tianli said, are you hitting a child? Tianli immediately used the moon step to fly upwards, easily dodging the blow. Tianlei was speechless after that, watching the ice flame lose its impact and fall into the sea. The ability to burn fruits in the sky should be more useful. No, his previous move called for self-destruction, which means he exploded an ability, and now he used ice flames and phoenixes. Is that the ability to burn fruit? This idiot is right in this sea. He is right to keep ice flames. At least he can build an ice ship. But burning the fruit doesn't work. Using the ability of a phoenix to fly, once the physical strength is exhausted, it will be dead. Tianlei laughed, you must have gone too far in your anger just now. Without a place to stay, you seem to be miserable. Gaimanyo also calmed down at this time, and his expression returned to normal. Really? He once again waved an ice flame, but this time it was directed at the water. Then he said, now we have it. After watching the water surface being hit by the ice flames, a large ice block with a radius of -meters appeared almost instantly. Tianlei smiled and said, boy, you seem to have become smarter. And I also think I have found something interesting. I just figured out a method now, a method that is as simple as it is simple, but extremely practical. Tianlei stepped in the air and came to his warship. In everyone's surprised eyes, Tianlei put his hand on Kaba's head. With a faint word of substitution, Tianlei turned into a crystal man in an instant. And the secret fruit came to Kaba. Afterwards, Tianlei quickly came to Gaimanyo and attacked Gaimanyo directly. Gaimanyo looked at Tianlei's actions with a confused look on his face, but he still quickly blocked it. Tianlei smiled coldly, all he wanted was for you to block him. Tianlei immediately turned his fist into a grasp. The moment Tianlei caught Gaimanyo, he immediately activated his ability to replace Guoran. This is what Tianlei thought of. Before, Tianlei always didn't need to replace it because the dark fruit was too strong. It would be a pity to replace it. But now that he has the ability to copy the fruit, he can't give up the Anan fruit. What's more, the Anan fruit is still in his own hands, so Tianxi can just copy it himself. Therefore, Tianlei replaced the dark fruit with Kaba, who had the worst fruit ability among his friends. This way it would be wasted in the end, which was not a pity. Tianlei was happy, but Gaimanyo was in tragedy. He did not have the ability to fly. If he lost the ability to copy, he would lose the ability of the phoenix. Gaimanyo immediately fell down with a look of fear on his face. But Tianlei couldn't be happy anymore. He experienced the ability to copy the fruit. Tianlei was depressed for a moment. Copying the fruit's ability can copy all the fruit's abilities in the world. The first level can copy one ability, the second level can copy two abilities, and the third level can copy three abilities. Restrictions: you have to see the opponent using the fruit ability before you can copy it. The same fruit ability cannot be copied a second time, and the copied fruit ability cannot be developed again. In other words, when you copy it, the stage of the copied fruit ability will be determined. What stage is it always in? While copying, you can copy the opponent's moves, but you can't develop new abilities and moves. Now the ability to copy the fruit is in the third stage, which means it can copy three abilities. Two of the three abilities are main abilities and one is a secondary ability. Once the fourth ability is copied, the ability that is a secondary ability will be replaced. Seeing this, Tianlei was wildly happy. This mother, is the Sharingan of the One Piece world. Whatever abilities you want in the future will be your abilities. But then, Tianlei couldn't be happy anymore. Because he discovered that the copying ability has been cleared, and two of the abilities are no longer available. In other words, there is nothing in the copying ability now. The most important thing is that the dark fruit and the burning fruit have been copied. It can no longer be copied. In other words, I have lost the dark fruit forever. Fortunately, the dark fruit is still in my body, and I still have the ability to choose three fruits, so it is not a loss. It shouldn't be said that I made a profit, it's just that I didn't make as much as I imagined. Tianlei was in the air like this, taking steps on the moon, thinking about which of these three abilities he wanted. As for Gaimanyo, Tianlei is already lazy about him. In Tianlei's eyes, he is the same as the veteran in the eyes of the Red Army, the captain of the transportation brigade. If Gaimanyo survives falling into the sea with this ability, consider him lucky. As Tianlei flew towards his warship, he thought, we must get the Kizaru's shining fruit. Because this fruit of Kizaru is indeed a bit unnatural. He only has 3 moves that come and go, but these 3 moves can make him one of the generals. As you can imagine, these 3 moves make him powerful. The 3 most critical moves are all awesome, especially when Kizaru appeared on the Chambord Islands. He kicked a light speed and broke a huge tree. The scene when the explosive air blew Kizaru's coat flying was really shocking. Also, Uncle Cheap's rockberry fruiting ability is also pretty good, and the last thing is the awakened thread fruit. Tian Li started to have sex and almost drooled. Chapter 97 The Conspiracy Strikes. After Tian Li returned to the warship, Kaba said to Tian Li with a puzzled look on his face, "Boss, why did you give me the ability of the dark fruit?" "Xuanai, you are stupid. I must have taken away ZK's ability. Isn't this fruit power that can replicate fruit power strong enough? Luo, if the boss directly coes him, then the boss will be the only one with the ability of the dark fruit. And replace the dark fruit with Kaba first, and then use the copy ability to copy it. In this way, we can make a lot of money. Now, there are 2 dark fruit ability users all at once. Kaba's strength will definitely increase greatly. Our strength will naturally increase as well." Tian Lei had a bitter look on his face, spread his hands and said, "As a result, I made a mistake in my calculation. I have the ability to copy, but I can no longer copy the ability of the dark fruit. Fortunately, this copying fruit is strong enough and can copy 3 abilities. It's considered a profit." 2 days later, Tian Li and his group came to Impel Down City in Magellan's office. "Director Magellan, I am Tian Li, reporting to you." Then he pointed at Luo and the others behind him and said, "These are my companions, came to Push City with me to serve." "Magellan, I already know this. Marshal Sengoku has already told me. From now on, you will be the chief warden, and your position will be the same as that of the former chief warden Aim Nahiru." Tian Li was stunned when he heard about Yu's Hilyu, and he thought it was right. 2 years later. Only Blackbeard would cause trouble in Impel Down, and this guy would become a member of the Blackbeard Pirates. It should still be locked up at level 6 now. While Tian Li's group and Magellan were getting to know each other, the managers of Impel Down City, including Hannibal, Domino, Salutes, Sati, and Jailerman, all came in. Magellan gave both parties a look, and Tian Li couldn't help but think, it seems that Magellan still values himself very much. At the same time, he carefully looked at the people on the opposite side. When Tian Li looked at them, they were also looking at Tian Li. After all, Tian Li's reputation was also very famous now. Afterwards, Magellan personally took Tian Li and his gang around Impel Down City, including the giant elevators that go to and from each floor of the prison, the physical examination room, the surveillance phone bug, the surveillance room, the torture room, the death row, the suspension bridge, and the torture equipment warehouse. Then there are the various floors of the Impel City, the first floor on the sea. The prisoners imprisoned on this floor have less serious crimes and are extremely weak. None of the imprisoned prisoners could beat the Blue Gorilla, and Tian Li also saw Bucky the Clown here. Tian Li couldn't help but think that MR3, if it weren't for him, would have been here by now. The first underground floor, the Red Lotus Hell, also imprisoned some people with very weak abilities, while the second underground floor still imprisoned some people with average abilities. On the third underground floor, Hungry Hell, Tian Li saw MR.2 Von Clay here. The people locked up on this floor already had good strength. The fourth underground floor of the Searing Hell is also the floor where Magellan's office is located. Here Tian Li also saw an acquaintance MR.1. People at this level already have quite extraordinary strength. The fifth underground floor of the extreme cold hell is imprisoned with pirates with a bounty of over -million. This is where Tian Li wants to come to Impel Down City. This is where Tian Li asked Galdino to secretly investigate and find out what abilities the Navy has caught. A powerful pirate. Of course, the key is to choose a good ability among the abilities. Of course, this was just an idea before, but I didn't expect that this guy Gardino really discovered an ability, an extremely abnormal ability. Moreover, under the leadership of Magellan, he looked around room by room, and Tian Li had already discovered this person with this ability. Tian Li's eyes lit up immediately. Thinking of that ability, Tian Li wanted to get it done right away. But seeing Magellan on the side, Tian Li endured it. He had much more time after that, so he was not in a hurry. Soon Tian Li and his gang followed Magellan to the sixth underground floor, where he actually saw many old acquaintances. Of course, these were old acquaintances from before, and now it was the first time for Tian Li to meet them. At this time, a sneer came over, haha. I really didn't expect it. I saw you here, the genius Rear Admiral of the Navy. Oh? No, you are now a Lieutenant General. It seems that your strength has increased during this period. Quite a few. Tian Li turned his head and looked amused, and said with a smile, it turns out to be you. Crocodile, are you doing well here? Crocodile, it's thanks to you, but you don't seem to be much better. You were actually sent here? I'm very curious, what big thing did you do that made warring states willing to send you here? Tian Li smiled, it's not a big deal, it's just that the underground forces in the lawless place that is causing havoc in the Shampoo Islands have been turned upside down. As soon as Tian Li said these words, Crocodile was stunned for a moment, and then laughed wildly, ha 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 ha. Before, I always thought that my defeat at your hands was just due to my carelessness. Now, I feel that I was defeated. No injustice. You have to be careful in this city. Listening to the conversation between Crocodile and Tian Lei, the pirates who were caught here couldn't help but look towards Tian Lei. Everyone imprisoned here can be a legend among pirates. But even they didn't dare to go to the Shampoo Islands to cause trouble, but they didn't expect that the navy in front of them did it. At this moment, the Budayahan in Tian Li's hand slashed toward his back, blocking the attack. Jiran said to Crocodile, since I dare to do it, I'm not afraid of these little luo in the dark. Ha 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 Kuai Chuanjijuan, it seems like you are really in trouble. You attacked a small navy in a sneak attack, but it was actually blocked. It's really getting better and better. In a few days, it's just Kuai Fist Jijuan. If you can't do it, then let me do it instead. I won't let you waste such a good opportunity to survive. TCH. Who the fuck is so rare? If you treat someone like a dog, you might as well wait here to die. Get the hell out of here. Storm Swordsman, you are a scumbag. You have no place to speak here. Crocodile, be careful what you say, it can't be this guy. I have been looking forward to the person they sent since the riot in the Shampoo Islands. If it is this guy, it will be really disappointing. At the same time, Tian Li stopped Magellan, who was about to take action. Director Magellan, since he is here to see me, let me handle it. After saying that, Tian Li put away Budayahan and said to the visitor, Kuai Fist Jiduan? Let's try, whose punch is faster and stronger. Tian Lei immediately punched Kuai Fist with a fishman. Jiduan called over. Chapter 98 Sonic Power User. Boom. The two fists met, and a strong impact was formed, making the clothes on the two of them rustle. The two began to have a stalemate, and for a while, neither of them could do anything to the other. Tian Li smiled faintly. The strength is not bad. But for this ability, it seems to be a little lacking. After saying this, Tian Li used a big whip kick and swept towards Kuai Chuanjijuan. Kuai Fist Jiduan also shouted, you were the one who almost missed it. As he said that, Kuai Fist Jiduan raised his sword and punched out, meeting Tian Lei's whip leg. Boom! Tian Li Fei retreated, and the two fought again, ending with Kuai Fist Ji being the superior one. Kuai Chuanji proudly waved his fist at Tian Li. Crocodile, isn't this guy stupid? Do you think that I, the Vice Admiral of the Navy, can't be domineering? Tian Li saw that Jijuan's fist turned black when he touched it, and turned to Crocodile and asked Road. Crocodile didn't speak, just smiled coldly. In this smile, everyone could see that he was very fond of Kuei Quanjia. Even Magellan on the side was sneering. Before Tian Li came, warring states had already had a good deal with him. His strength was absolutely extraordinary, only below that of a general. Moreover, Jijuan Kuai-chuan was still wearing Halashi's shackles, which greatly reduced his strength, but his eyes almost fell off in the next moment. At this moment, the sea tower stone on Kuai Quanjia's feet was thrown away by him. This scene made Tian Li's pupils shrink sharply. You must know that among the people on the 6th level, the worst one in their heyday was also a famous lieutenant general. So they all wear special shackles, especially those with abilities. Only Director Magellan has the keys to these special shackles on their bodies. That's why Magellan looked so incredible when he saw this quick punch Jiduan shake off Haloshi's shackles from his legs. Kuai Fist Jijuan began to laugh wildly, ha ha ha. Let you see the real Kuai Fist Jijuan. After saying that, he punched with both fists rapidly, creating countless boxing shadow. Then it attacked the sky thunder like the falling stars in the sky. Tian Li, who was opposite Kuai Chuanjijuan, felt his balls hurt again when he saw the fists attacking him one after another. Mom, I'm living in the world of One Piece, not the world of Saint Seiya. You give me one of Saint Seiya's unique moves, and Pegasus Meteor Fist, a virtue move. What does that mean? Now Tian Li also knows why this Kuai Chuanjijuan is called Kuai Chuanjijuan. This punch is really damn fast. Tian Li doesn't have the speed to dodge it anyway. Tian Li is quite helpless now, unable to dodge, he had to block it, iron block. Tian Li shouted coldly, and Tian Li's whole body immediately became like a steel plate, and at the same time he also gained a domineering aura. After Kuai Chuanjijuan's first punch hit him, Tian Li felt something. Dozens of fists hit him, and Tian Li was knocked away again. Fortunately, Tian Li's defense was already at a high level, so in this quick attack, he was only injured. When Kuai Fist Ji Duan used his ability to increase his punching speed dozens of times, Tian Lei also used his ability while defending. Tian Lei's eyes suddenly became weird. Just take it. Kuai Fist Ji Duan's fruit ability was copied, and Tian Lei wiped his own horn without any care. After briefly experiencing Kuai Chuan Ji Duan's fruit ability, he said with a smile, "Sonic fruit, it seems that you have fully developed the sonic speed in these fists, which is a pity." Kuai Fist Ji Duan looked at Tian Lei, who had been punched dozens of times by him, and stood up as if nothing had happened. He couldn't help but be startled. Then he said, "It seems that you can still withstand a beating? But no matter how good you are, you will eventually fall to my fast punch, ha ha ha." With the fast fist, Ji Duan immediately launched towards Tian Li again. An attack like a violent storm. Tian Li smiled strangely and said lightly, "The same moves are useless against us saints." Tian Li's fists also started to swing quickly, and the speed was no worse than that of Kui Kunja. Ji Duan's attacks were blocked one by one with his fists. Both of them were very fast, and this move was done in a flash. Their expressions changed immediately. Kuai Chuan Ji Duan looked at Tian Li with an expression of disbelief. And now Tian Li's expression is very helpless. He was actually brought over by himself, and he was also shocked. What kind of moves are useless to us saints? He meows that the same fruit ability is probably useless to him, because he already has it. Crocodile, Magellan, and the prisoners detained nearby all saw the punch Tian Li had just punched, but they were a little unable to react now. Kuai Fist Ji Duan punches so fast because of his fruit ability. But what would Tian Li say? He didn't have Kuai Fist Ji Duan's ability, but now they clearly saw that Tian Li used Kuai Fist Ji Duan's ability. Could it be that the world is changing too fast and people like you can no longer keep up with the times? Tian Li, thank you for giving me a good ability, but it's a pity that the development is a bit shabby. Can't you develop the ability of this sonic fruit into your legs? Are you stupid? It doesn't matter if you are stupid, but you can a poorly developed ability is your fault. After hearing Tian Li's words, everyone present felt a little stupid. The quickest to react were Crocodile and Magellan. Almost at the same time, can you copy other people's abilities? Tian Li turned around and said, Director Magellan, if you don't mind, can you let me copy your ability? Although Tian Li did not answer directly, this sentence said everything. At this time, Kuai Chuan Ji Duan also came to his senses and shouted, ability is not something you just get. Look at my sonic blast. Kuai Chuan Ji Duan hit Tian Li hard through the air. Fist. Boom. Kuai Fist Ji Duan's punch hit the air with a loud bang. A transparent punch force visible to the naked eye formed from Kuai Fist Ji Duan's fist and hit Tian Li at the speed of sound. Tian Li sneered, what I copied was not just ability. At the same time, he also punched, and the same transparent punch formed from Tian Li's head, blocking Kuai Chuan Ji Duan's attack. Boom! The two fists met between the two and exploded like a bomb. A strong wave of air formed instantly, blowing the cloak of justice behind Tian Lei loudly. Chapter 99 Copying the Poisonous Fruit. My copy is a copy of all the moves. So if you can do it, I can do it, but if I can do it, you can't. Yo! You seem to be in trouble. Haha. Tian Li laughed quite a bit. Of insidiousness. At this time, Magellan shouted, how outrageous. Then he shouted to Tian Li guard captain, be careful. At the same time, he launched an attack, because at this time, two more prisoners suddenly appeared in the cell and launched an attack on Tian Li. Attack. At the same time, Magellan immediately launched a poison gas bomb attack. Magellan spit out bubbles containing tear gas from his mouth and successfully stopped a prisoner. In fact, even if Magellan didn't remind Tian Li had already noticed it. After all, Tian Li's domineering attitude was not for show. However, when Magellan reminded him, Tian Li still looked at Magellan, because Tian Li knew that Magellan would definitely launch an attack, and it was the time when he copied his poisonous fruit. The moment Magellan exerted his strength, Tian Li copied his ability. He smiled at the person attacking him and said calmly, have you ever tasted poison? The attacking enemy had not yet responded. Kuai Fist Ji Duan said coldly, no matter what you are pretending to be, I don't believe you can copy the second ability. That's right, today is the day you die, and then we will be free again. The new enemy finally spoke out. Tian Li laughed and shouted, poisonous dragon. Tian Li's body immediately poured out a large amount of venom, forming 3 huge poisonous dragons, which attacked the 2 of them. Anyone touched by the poisonous dragon will be immediately corroded by poison, just like the liquid dripping from the dragon-shaped poison corrodes the ground. Holy shit! This is the mood of everyone now, including Magellan. When Tian Li said that he wanted to copy his abilities, it was just a joke by Tian Li. After all, being able to copy an ability is already incredible. Now that Tian Li has actually copied his ability, doesn't he become a person with dual abilities, and it feels so weird to watch others use their abilities. Crocodile, on the other hand, had a look of fear on his face, because Tian Li didn't have the ability when he fought with him before, but now that he has acquired these powerful dual abilities, he may have the power to suppress himself. The same man said in a cold voice, these 3 guys are going to be in trouble. All 3 of them are strong melee fighters. How can they face 2 Magellans? A person in the cell next to him said calmly, it's no different from seeking death. Magellan's poison ability is almost invincible in close combat. The 3 Kuai Chuanji Duan immediately dodged when they saw the attacks from Tian Li and Magellan. They had been in Impel Down for more than a day or 2, so they naturally knew that Magellan's poison was untouchable. Magellan was a strong man who could defeat Blackbeard's group by himself. If it hadn't been for Aim Nozomi's intervention, Blackbeard's group would have been destroyed in Magellan's hands. He is now even more annoyed than Tian Lei, the man who was assassinated. You know, Magellan is the director of Push City. Now, in Push City, the most important and critical 6th floor, 3 prisoners have actually escaped in a row. The special shackles were also removed one by one. He also assassinated the newly appointed guard captain, Tian Li. Where would he put his face? Suddenly he roared, you guys! You bastards, don't let me know who they are, otherwise I will make sure you die badly. Obviously Magellan also had murderous intentions towards the mastermind behind this time. But those people couldn't be here at all, so they had no choice but to take action against these 3 unlucky guys. You must know that Impel Down City is called the Iron Wall because of the existence of Magellan, who is a proper general. Being angry is not so scary. Magellan shouted, Poison Cloud. In just a moment, Magellan released a large amount of poisonous gas from his body and rushed towards the 3 of them. How dare the 3 of them let this poisonous cloud come close? They immediately began to hide behind them. Unfortunately, they underestimated Magellan's poisonous cloud. It spread too fast, forcing the 3 of them into chaos. At this moment, there was a person who was a little panicked and hid in Tian Li's direction. Originally, Tian Li saw that Magellan was extremely angry and started to get angry. Thinking that it has nothing to do with him anymore, Magellan wants to vent, and Tian Li can understand it. If this matter were to happen to him, he would definitely be angry. So I have to give him this little face. But now that it is delivered to the door, Tian Li will naturally not ignore it. Immediately, a poisonous passage appeared on the ground. A passage formed by venom attacked those who came. This man's attention is now entirely on Magellan, and his back is to Tian Li. How can he notice Tian Li? At this time, Kuai Chuanji, who was on the opposite side, saw clearly and immediately shouted loudly, Lu Zhen, watch your back. Unfortunately, it was too late. Tian Li's poison channel attack hit this man hard. The man was immediately poisoned and lay on the ground. His face turned purple and his lips turned black. Although Tian Li knew that after hitting this move, he could directly KO this person. But now that I saw it, I was still shocked by the ability of this poisonous fruit. It was so powerful that it was a bit unbelievable. You must know that each of the 3 Kuai Fist Jijuan has the strength of a lieutenant general, and they are also strong in physical skills. Their physical strength is absolutely very strong. But that's it, it hit the target within seconds. Now Tian Li wants to use this poison ability as one of the 2 main abilities, but thinking about the flash, the magma and the thread, he suppresses this idea. Tian Li secretly thought, the temptation of this poisonous ability is too great. While Tian Lei was praising the power of the poison fruit, Magellan started to get angry and shouted angrily, you all go to hell. Poison Dragon. He used the same move as Tian Lei before, 3 by 3. The huge dragon-shaped poison quickly rushed towards the remaining 2 people. The 2 of them had no time to react at all and the time passed by. Tian Li couldn't help but be stunned when he saw it. This was a powerful move that could kill Blackbeard's gang instantly. I don't know how much stronger it was than when I used it. It seems that copying the fruit by yourself is not omnipotent. Although you can copy the abilities and moves, the power is also directly related to your own strength. I am now a lieutenant general, and the moves I perform are at the level of a lieutenant general. When my own strength reaches the level of a general, this move will unleash all my strength, and I will be able to defeat the power of Blackbeard's group with one move. After taking care of these two people, Magellan came over and said very apologetically, I'm sorry, Captain Tian Li Guard, I will definitely give you an explanation for this matter. Chapter 100 Space Fruit. No, these people came to me. Naturally, I have to go find them myself, right? Then he turned to Crocodile and said with a mysterious smile, Sand Crocodile, maybe we will have a battle in the future. What an opportunity! Crocodile smiled when he heard this, I also look forward to fighting you again. Afterwards, Tian Li and Magellan returned to Magellan's office again. Tian Li. Director Magellan, I will be responsible for the 5th and 6th floors from now on. And I will bring some people to practice the exercises for my partners and me. Hey! Magellan couldn't react for a moment, and then said, no. Although these people are all sinners, we can't deal with them arbitrarily. You must know that the Navy has Navy rules, so you should give up this idea. Former guard Xi Lu of Chongyu was imprisoned in the 6th floor because of his murderous nature. Tian Li smiled faintly, that's not what I think. I am not a murderous demon king. I just want them to come out and fight with my friends to strengthen their strength. You are thinking too much. Magellan frowned and said, this is also against the rules. But don't forget, you still owe me. How about I promise that no one will die? Magellan was silent for a moment and said, I can only promise that I don't care. I won't talk about it that morning during the Warring States period. When he came out of Magellan's office, Tian Li made arrangements, Kabi, Nakajao, Shni, Bartolomeo, Drake, and Luo, now this Impel Down City is our training ground. You survive as prisoners on each level for a month. Bartolomeo looked puzzled, on each floor, survive as a prisoner for a month? Boss, what are you going to do? Luo, boss, you want us to use the special situations on each floor here to exercise our physical strength. When Derek heard Luo's words, his eyes immediately lit up, boss, you are really amazing. You can even think of such a method. Tian Li, okay, now the exercise begins. You all go. After sending a few people away, Tian Li came to the 5th floor and came to the person who made him envious. Spaceman Li Zhong. Tian Li said. Li Zhong, what do you want me to do with you? Tian Li smiled very sinisterly, how about a fight with you? Are you kidding me? I'm a space person, and my strength is all above my space ability. Now I'm carrying the Sea Tower Stone, and why do you want to beat me up? Are you looking for a reason to beat me up? Come on. Li Zhong was very speechless now. I can open your Sea Tower Stone, as long as you have a fight with me, how about it? Tian Li. Li Zhong, who was originally listless, immediately became energetic, you want to open the sea floor stone on my body? Xiao Haijun, stop joking. Li Zhong immediately returned to his original state, because he didn't believe it. Someone will untie his sea stone. Because as long as the sea tower stone leaves his body, he can leave this impelling city known as the Iron Wall in an instant. Tian Li looked at Li Zhong with an expression of disbelief and immediately walked over. In Li Zhong's disbelieving eyes, he untied his halo stone. You helped me untie it? You really helped me untie it? Aren't you afraid that I would run away? It took a while for Li Zhong to react, but he still had a look of disbelief on his face. Now we can have a fight. Tian Li still smiled so sinisterly. Li Zhong glanced at Tian Lei and laughed loudly, you idiot. You actually dare to open the Sea Tower Stone on my body. Now that the Sea Tower Stone is opened, my spatial ability is back. I'll give it back to you. Damn it. I'm leaving now. As soon as Li Zhong finished speaking, he activated the power of space. Li Zhong couldn't help but laugh as he watched Tian Lei become illusory and gradually disappear in front of his eyes. Because at this time, Tian Lei's eyes had turned into a strange color. Tian Lei, with a sinister smile, began to become illusory like Li Zhong, and gradually disappeared in place. On a deserted island 10 miles away from Impel Down City, a man was laughing loudly on the island. At the same time, he shouted loudly, it's been 20 years, it's been 20 years. My god of space, Li Zhong, has finally come out. Tremble. All the nobles of the world. Unfortunately, he didn't notice that there was one standing right above him. That was Tian Lei. Tian Lei was speechless now, secretly thinking that in this world, there are really many people who regard themselves as gods. He really has some strength, and his ability can be called a god. God of space Li Zhong, right? You are really a bit unkind. By the way, you should at least fight me before leaving. In the midst of excitement, Li heard someone talking above him, and it was the same person who let him go. He immediately felt that something was wrong, and he was not stupid. He could use the power of space to push out of the city. One thought can travel 10 miles, even Admiral Kizaru, the fastest in the navy, couldn't catch up with him. But now this person has caught up with him, which shows that this person has similar abilities to himself, and it seems that he is going to have a hard battle. Li Zhong was also a man experienced in fighting. Without raising his head, he waved his hand to the sky thunder in the air, and a space blade that was invisible to the naked eye flew towards the sky thunder. It may be difficult for others to avoid such a silent attack. But people with the domineering power of knowledge can feel it, not to mention that Tian Li has copied his spatial ability and moves. Tian Li did the same. With an understatement of his hand, the same space blade flew out from Tian Li's hand. The two space blades met in the air without making any sound, but they punched cracks in the air. This shows how extraordinary its power is. Li Zhong was completely stunned at this time. How could you know my moves? Impossible, impossible. Impossible? Is there anything impossible in this world? After Tian Li finished speaking, he paused and said, "Take my move, black hole." Tian Li raised his hand, and a black ball appeared in his hand. As soon as the black ball appears, a strong suction force that can suck everything away is immediately generated from the black ball. The seabirds in the sky, the water in the sea, the fish and the stones on the island were all sucked towards the black ball. In just an instant, a piece of the island and the nearby sea water was cut off. As more things are sucked in, the black ball becomes larger. Li Zhong was extremely shocked at this time. He just couldn't figure out how this person could know his own abilities and moves, and they were exactly the same. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.